디아블로 인천 명단입니다. 자, 이 첫 번째 페이지는 없고 여기 있습니다. 여기 한국 사람들이 좀 있네요. 네. 한국일 때는 어린 터졌다. 마왕님이 해냈습니다. 마왕님이 해냈습니다. 예예예예예. 다른 파티원들 저기 아래 있습니다. 자, 이걸 세어볼까 한번? 저도 사실 제 손으로 세어본 적이 없습니다. 한 명 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 39! 하나에 39개네요. 그러면은 78에서 에? 아, 맞나? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 72 아니야 이러면? 아, 빠뜨렸어. 빠뜨린 거임? 아무튼 뭐 72야 4야 뭐야? 제가 빠뜨렸나요? 아무튼 뭐 70 몇인 줄. 70 몇, 아, 제목줄? 아, 젠장. 아, 하하하. 잠시만. 70 몇이야. 아무튼 근데 74이라던데. 이게 뭐냐고? 아코 천인 런의 그 순이라고 합니다. 아코 천인. 1000명에 들어가는 사람들 중에서 마왕님의 순위가 6이라고 하네요. 야, 이 정도면은 릴리트 동상이 꽤 위에 있는 거 아니야? 마왕님 좀 위에서 이렇게 아래를 안 봐도 될지는 몰라. 거의 맨 위에 있을지는 몰라요. 이렇다면 아마도 꽤 위에 있겠지? 맞아, 심지어 3억이 있네. 3억인데도 불구하고 그것입니다. 넘어져도 다시 일어나서 열심히 힘내십니다. 자, 그러면 마왕님이 넘어졌을 때 함께 일으켜주고 달린 친구들, 우리 동료들 어디 있느냐? 오, 선생님, 한글 가슴이 웅장해지네요. 소풍님, 삐꾸니꾸장. 여기 소풍님이 있네요. 삐꾸니꾸장. 초신바로 왜 삐꾸니꾸인지 모름. 뭔가 뭐 이유가 있겠지. 설명을 해준다 싶기도. 아, 피크닉. 발록실레이어님 실결 구독 감사합니다. 고맙습니다. 아, 삐꾸니크, 삐꾸닉. 설명했다고? 까먹었어. 딱 까먹었지롱. 자, 아무튼 삐꾸니꾸장. 서윤님이다. 여기 서윤님이 여기 또 있네요. 와, 나 쩐다. 근데 딴 사람도 어디였어? 아, 여기다. 아, 여기 나현이님 여기 있네요. 나현이, 니디의 현이. 젤리님도 여기 있어야 되는 거 아니야? 젤리님은 조금 늦었나? 젤리가 있을 텐데. 있다, 젤리. 아마 여기 있는 젤리겠지? 꽤 아래 있네. 야, 그 사이 이렇게 온 거. 와, 빠르다 사람들. 그 잠깐 하루 사이 이렇게 된 거임? 이거 제법 경쟁이 빡셌구만. 아니 따윤이님이 여기 있는데 잠깐 현이님이 여기 있는데 왜 젤리님이 여기 있는 거임? 와. 야 그러면 이거 생각보다 1000명은 금방 찾겠는데? 생각보다 1000명은 금방 찾을지도. 하루 차이인데 안에 거의 그 사이 100명 있는 것 같은데? 봐봐 여기 있잖아 따윤이님. 여기 있고 그 사이에 거의 한 100명은 아니고 한 50명 60명? 대박이군. 자 하지만 마왕님 여기 있다는 거예요 여러분들. 중요한 사실은 인백이라는 것이다. 뿌듯하구나. 내가 또 언제 이렇게 세계 랭킹에 들어오겠습니까? 이게 마왕님의 첫 RPG라니 믿겨지나요? 캬, 물 한잔 마시고.
발표하고 인증했는데 누락됐다는 사람들 나와서 어지럽다해요.
누락이라고? 누락되면 어떡하냐? 책임져라 블리자드! 책임져라 블리자드! 자 아무튼 마왕님은 증명했습니다. 오랜만에 증명 성공했습니다. 휴, 오랜만에 증명 성공했음. 또 이런 일이 있네요. 누락되면은 넣어줘야지 이렇게 해가지고 1000명 이 사이에 이렇게 넣어. 야 그럼 어떻게 하냐 이거? 이 밑에 있는 사람 잘리는 거야 그러면? 누락됐으면은 순서대로면 밑에 있는 사람부터 잘리나 이렇게? 마왕님 이후 갈 거냐고? 아마 한번 가지 않을까나. 한 번쯤은 저거 보려고 얼바인 한번 가볼지도 모르겠습니다. 얼바인 한번 찍먹해야지. 올해 한번 블리자드컨 한번 가봐 한번. 에이. 아무도 나인지 모르겠지만 딱 선글라스랑 끼고 마스크 끼고 이렇게 쓱 가가지고 사진을 몰래 찍고 오는 거지. 이왕 갔으면은 사진 껴야지. 아 그럼 더 티나? 말하지마. Do you know 마오루야? Do you know 마왕루야? 입을 여는 순간 걸린다고. 진짜 그렇다면은 통역을 데려간다. 누굴 데려가지? 또 영어 잘하는 친구 데려갈까? 야 내가 여행비 낼 테니까 같이 갈까 해가지고 어디 가는데 얼바인 블리자드 컨 아나? 네. 이게 뭐야 친구야? 블리자드? 그게 뭔데 싶다가 몰라. 자기 너 뭐였는데 뭘 사진을 찍는 거니? 이러면서 이제 막 실명으로 부르고 이거 왜 찍어? 이러면서 이게 뭔데 여기 얘네 무서워 이러고 여기 이상해 뭔데 여기 뭐 이렇게 막 사람들이 이러는 거니 뭐야 이러면서 야 가만히 있어 가만히 있어봐 나만 따라와봐 가만히 있어 쫓아와 나만 따라와봐 해가지고 그냥 통역만 해줘 조용히. 이거 그 릴리트상 어딘지 물어봐봐. 근데 뭐 그 정도 영어는 너 가능하긴 해. 가서 야만을 상영해달라고? 나 오늘 영상을 보고 좀 결정을 해야 될 것 같긴 해요. 제발. 근데 뭐 거래도 안 되잖아. 거래도 안 돼가지고 먹어도 뭔가 그냥 먹었구나 정도임. 뭔가 좀 이렇게 이게 솔로 게임이 아니잖아. 거래도 안 되면 드랍률을 올리던가 아니면 드랍 안 나오게 했으면 거래라도 가능하게 던가. 난 잘 모르겠음. 무슨 컨셉인지 모르겠음. 예를 들어서 예를 들어 마왕이 최근에 지금 계속 하고 있는 게 일단 원신이니까 원신을 좀 비유로 하자면은 원신은 거의 솔로 느낌이 강하잖아요. 솔로 느낌이 강한데 막 아이템이 더럽게 안 나오는 거임. 눈썹 각도 비상님 만원 대왕원 감사합니다. 감사합니다요. 그러니까 근데 원신은 가차잖아. 그래가지고 뭔가 속성이 다른데 이 친구는 솔로 게임을 지향하는 건지 뭐 무슨 게임을 지향하는 건지 좀 확실하게 해줬으면 좋겠음. 자, 지향점을 내놓아라. 지하 3D 너무 심하게 되었다고? 무슨 일이 있었나? 무슨 일이 있었길래? 무슨 일이 있었길래 그런 거냐고. 현거래 제한을 원한다. 모르겠다. 어떻게 해야 되지? 그럼 어떻게 해야 돼? 거래?
Hello.
헬로.
That's it? That's how you open?
I'm
Hello.
gonna do that every single time.
Hello.
Welcome to
아니 뭐 실없는 소리를.
Diablo developer update live stream. My name is Adam Fletcher. I am the community.
이
director
사람이
for
알로
the
플래처구나. 이
Diablo
새끼야 너가
franchise.
원흉이냐?
Got some wonderful people here.
너구나 이 새끼. 너가
Yeah,
알로
well, not
플래처구나.
part of the wonderful crew, I guess.
Yeah. Not, he decided to insert himself as of yesterday.
아하 로드 퍼거슨이 이분이고.
What
야
is the
얼굴
power-
참았어.
if you have power, you should use it whenever possible, and I've decided to. So
So we have Rod here, who is of course the general manager of the Diablo
universe.
family,
자 뭐
universe.
일단 이 사람이 유니버스까지
All
한다고?
things
그래?
Diablo.
Can't use the word franchise.
야, 너 높은 사람이에요 그러면?
PR's
로드
right here
퍼거슨
now.
이 사람이 디아블로 전체 세계관을 이거
Of
다
course
건드는
we
것 같은데?
have, Chris Liao
Lead UX designer on Immortal.
and
아유
Ryan Quinn.
이모탈이라고
Hi, I'm the
젠장.
senior narrative designer on Immortal.
So we are actually starting off today's show
야, 왜 이모탈부터 하는
with
거예요?
some Diablo Immortal conversations. Also, I do want to mention we're using new fancy mics today. We've been joking around, and I call them the Britney Spears mic.
Right.
Rod calls them the Janet Jackson mic.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
Jackson.
It's because I'm older.
Rod, but is not wearing one
I
of
refuse.
them.
자막을 못하지 아마?
It doesn't take a genius to see the size of my head.
실시간이라고
And the
자막이 안
ability to
되긴
put that little
해.
wire around this size of noggin is impossible. So therefore, I've
아
passed.
탈모인 신캐 발표부터 한다고?
But he does
뭐가
have a
금치고인지
really good
모르겠지만 아마
impression of
탈모일지도?
I am not doing it.
사람들이
Okay,
싫어해가지고
maybe we can
I'll knock my
나가다지롱.
shirt later. It'll be good.
Maybe we can get it out
Oh,
of
time out,
during
you know?
Q&A. Someone
뭐
asked that
해먹힌 거지?
question in Twitch chat. We'll make sure to bring that up during Q&A. And
Great.
there you go. You're just on the spot and you have to answer it. So
I think it's important that, like, last time you clarified what we were doing was the campfire, which is more of a casual, we're just kind of giving updates. You know, we just want to be able to
자,
talk to
일단은
people.
쓰잘데기 없는 소리가
This is more of a
대부분이라 좀
developer
무시할게요.
stream, so it's a bit more official.
Yes.
But one of the things we wanted to recognize too is that, like, as a family of games,
거의 그냥
we've
잡담이라가지고
always, there's lots
쓸데없는
of cool stuff happening within in Diablo, and so we want to take. We don't always want to just be focused on just D4. We want, anytime there's something big or really interesting happening within Diablo, we want to be able to talk about it. You know, I could imagine we're going to have a season 29 conversation for Diablo 3 at some point in the future.
디아블로
And so
3는 시즌이야.
one of the things we're going to look at,
우야.
wanted to do today was not just talk about, you know, we are definitely going to talk about season
야,
1 on
3는
Diablo
쩐다.
4.
근데 이
And for some reason, Adam has structured this to be as tantric as possible. We'll get there, trust us, but it's going to take a minute. So, but what we really want to look at as well is we want to talk about a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about what's the preseason before we go into season 1. We're going to talk about what's going on with D4 today because we actually have some news.
그래
out
이게
today.
핵심이야. 프리시즌이랑 시즌 1이랑 어떤 일이 이렇게 어떻게 일어날 것인지 모든 것에 대해서 얘기한다. 예예예예예.
And then we want to talk a little bit about Diablo Immortal because
근데
something
해석해
pretty incredible is
주시는 분이
happening in
채팅에
Diablo
있습니다.
Immortal,
나이스.
which is in nearly a decade we're having our first new
자,
Diablo character class
해석해라,
is being revealed.
지수.
And we wanted to reveal it here on this stream. So, you know, one of the things great things about Blizzard is the SFD team, story and franchise, and
채수가
Blizzard
해석하면
Video
읽어줄게
and
그러면.
everything that they do around cinematics, and we thought, how could we introduce a new character class without having a kick-ass video to go with it? So, without
여진이님
further
시계열도
ado,
감사합니다.
may we present to you the new Diablo character class coming to Diablo Immortal very, very soon.
아니 신캐 안 구매 이모탈은 우리 누가 이모탈 한다고.
The darkness has always been with us. And humanity is right to fear it.
하지만 놀랍게도 이모탈이 엄청 효자 종목이라고 하네요.
is to consume you and all you love. But my kind claim its power,
오, 변신.
wield it in defiance.
캬, 이모탈은 신캐 나오는데 변신하는 애인가 봐요.
Darkness. But I am a blood knight.
자, 이 멋진 캐릭을 하려면은 부분 결제, 부분 유료 3만원을 결제하신 다음에 또 새로움을 뽑으려면 100만원을 결제하시고 캬! 자, 제가 알기로 이모탈이 아마 모바일 게임이지? 저 얘가 돈 잘 벌어다 준대. 블러드 나이트 피해 기사. 곧 있으면
There we
나오네요.
have it. The new class coming to Diablo and Diablo Immortal. It's the Blood Knight.
July 13th. That's
July
like
13th.
a little over a week away.
Exactly.
Sounds like there might have been some encoding issues.
Exactly. Yeah, I know that some people are talking about there's a little bit of hitching on it and so forth. I will say that we actually do have that trailer that will be on a blog on diabloimmortal.com immediately after the stream, so people can actually check it out. It will be on YouTube along with all the details that we're about to talk about. We just like to get ahead of ourselves. That's all. But,
오케이. 자, 뭐
obviously,
아무튼
first new class.
뭐 관련된
to
거를
the
뭐
Diablo
유튜브나 어디 많이
universe
올린다고
in
하니까
nearly
그거
10
찾아보라고
years.
하네요.
I think there's a lot of questions in regards to like the story and so forth behind the Blood Knight. Ryan, give us a little bit of background regarding the Blood Knight itself.
Yeah, sure. So I think historically, when we released DI, we released it with these sort of 6 very, very familiar, very stalwart classes that all of us love, that many of us have been playing for
이 사람 코어가
decades.
굉장히 큽니다.
And it's great to kind of indulge
그
in
장난감
that
인형 쓴 줄.
nostalgia. It's great to get that dopamine hit of playing a
장난감 그
classic.
안경.
But after 6 classes, it left us with the opportunity to do something that felt really new and different. To do a supernatural class that's kind of monstrous, that does things that our other dark classes like
이 사람은 약간 디아블로 오타쿠구나.
don't do. And so we're really, really stoked about the opportunity to release the Blood Knight on everybody.
Nice.
Stoked about the opportunity to release the Blood Knight on everybody.
Nice. Yeah, I know. Like, obviously, everyone's kind of seeing the
아직은 뭐
Blood Knight
이모탈
and
얘기를
they're
하고
thinking, like,
대충
is
넘기면
this, like,
돼요.
vampiric in some sort of
초자연적인
way, or,
몬스터적인
like,
클래스의
how does this,
특징이라고 하네요.
how does this fit in
오,
with
저분
the
번역 잘하는데?
actual lore
Right.
within Diablo?
Right, so the
잘한다,
fine details
잘한다.
are Blood Knights and vampires are intertwined. On Sanctuary, vampires are kind of like living plagues. They go from hunting ground to hunting ground. They kill people, they bite
뭐
people.
폐기가 뭐
And
살아있는
sometimes
전염병인데
people who
어쩌고
they've
저쩌고.
bitten, they suffer this monstrous transformation. They start to devolve
아무튼 뭐
into
괴물이
what we
된다고
call
하네요.
thralls, kind of like lesser vampiric beings, long teeth, hunger for blood,
성형에서의
all that
뱀파이어
stuff.
이런
And a
세계관
Blood Knight
이걸
is
얘기하고
a
있긴
person
한데
who, through means of an ancient ritual, has that curse of thraldom arrested inside them, frozen essentially in place. They
씹덕
get
같아.
some advantages, but they get some drawbacks too.
What do you mean the curse of turning into a thrall is a drawback?
약간 그뭐 진짜 찐텐으로 이렇게 막 그
Their
뱀파이어의
thraldom is
사랑을
essentially on pause. So basically what happens is a Blood Knight, also preternaturally strong and fast, can see in the dark, can smell blood from a mile away, doesn't age
아무튼
anymore,
엄청
can see
그
in the
칭찬하는
dark,
중 뭐
very
세고 강하고
fancy.
빠르고 뭐 피도 빨아들이고
On the
어둠에
flip
숨고
side,
저저저저저
they have these blood red eyes. They have black veins in their face.
Right.
Makes people uncomfortable. And
don't see
maybe
why.
yeah, I know, right. And sort of more
일단 뭐
pivotally than
뱀파이어에
that,
환장했습니다.
you know, deep
하하하.
inside their soul, there is an abomination, a monstrous darkness that hungers
자,
for
이모탈을
violence.
그만하기에는 얘네가 너무
And
매출이
in
높대요.
order to tamp that down, in order to slow their transformation
나효니님은
further,
이
they have
영상
to
유심히
perform
보시려다
a ritual.
모르지 그건.
That keepsake that you saw in our cinematic character's right hand, the little thing on the
Oh,
chain.
the chain, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically their lifeline.
I see.
So
Like
like
a link to their past.
yeah. It's got a memento within of the last place that they were kind of truly human.
Right.
And so every morning, noon, and night, they're doing ablutions
이게.
with this thing to hopefully continue to keep the darkness at bay. But, you know, it's a process.
Right.
The ritual, it's hearsay. You know, it's been passed down for hundreds of years. And for basically every blood knight,
솔직히 말하면은 조금 알바노긴 해요. 컨셉이 그만해. 언제부터 디아블로에서 캐릭터 컨셉이 그렇게 있다고. 그냥 못 바꾸대. 핵앤슬래시잖아 너희들.
could
They
be
don't know.
centuries,
Right, yeah.
They're
너희들은
very, very
핵앤슬래시야.
long.
제발
What they
정신
do
차려.
know and what they pledge on is that
원서술사
they're gonna use all
야만용사가
of the time
어떤
they have
세계관에서
left
보였는지 솔직히 관심
to push
없어.
back the darkness. And ultimately for them, since that is such an uncertain question, it's really about their
이런 얘기를
inner sense
들으려고.
of balance. Can I do enough good
Right.
to make up for the evil that will rise when I'm gone?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out because we had the art up there earlier, and that art is gorgeous looking. At the same time, they're very pretty. I've been joking about it. I'm like, oh, look, they're so pretty.
If you were going to turn into a monster, you'd want to stop
Or
right
it's
here,
funny
right?
because they're very like
또
they're very,
잡담한다 또.
gorgeous here, and then they turn into the abomination, which is really funny to see. So it's like a complete like opposite
Well,
of what it is.
I mean, you mentioned the abomination. I think we saw the Blood Knight turn into this creature during that. So what actually is going on here? Like this is a. I
대단하고
guess Chris
예쁘다
will
밥
talk
먹지.
eventually about like how an abomination comes to be, but this is basically them tapping into what's inside them to change form.
Yeah, they're letting the curse off the leash just a little bit. It's going to grant them extreme power in the short term.
This is the Bruce Banner Hulk thing.
Yeah, but maybe there's a little anime teardrop there of like, do I come back from this?
Right. Okay. Got it.
Awesome. Well, I know with the Blood Knight, obviously, like, it's new class. How does it fit, Chris, into the like a gameplay style? Like, what if you're playing
야,
a
차라리
Blood
그걸
Knight? what can
보여줘라
you
좀.
expect,
이제 좀
the
보여줘봐. 할
style to
거면은.
be, as a person that's actually jumping into Diablo.
Yeah, so the Blood Knight is actually a melee hybrid class, meaning there's tons of up-close combat with polearms. However, they have a host of shadow and
그냥 뭐
blood
근접
abilities they can
클래스고 모습을 바꿔가면서
manipulate the
다양한 전투
battlefield in
방식을
their
가지고
favor.
있는 듯.
I think the drawback of Blood Knights might be that players that start playing it might feel that their mobility is limited. However, they have tons of legendary essences to help them improve the ability to close the gap on enemies.
그냥 영상을 이럴 거면은 영상을 보여주는 게 나을 것 같긴 한데.
In lengthy combat sequences.
Got it. So, like in combat more often, close combat, so they're essentially taking more damage.
자,
but then they
오케이,
have
보여준다.
abilities
자, 뭐 이런
themselves to actually
식으로.
essentially drain, as we can see, kind of like life from others. Essentially replenish their life while they're in combat.
The kebab attack, as I like to call it.
The skewer.
The skewer attack is my favorite thing right now. I was like, so what's happening there? We saw it in the trailer. We see it here as well.
느릿느릿하네요.
but basically able to stab an enemy, smash it around like as if on the end of a hammer. So that's you're like Chris is like, yeah,
뭔가
that's
좀
basically
느릿느릿한데.
yeah.
Pretty awesome.
But it actually has a
kebab
stun
이라고.
as well, right? It's not just the attack on the one thing that you skewered. It actually it has an area effect.
Yeah, so the Blood Knight stabs their polearm forward into the closest enemy, then swings overhead the enemy and slams it into the ground, stunning everyone in a small AoE. And there are also legendary essences that let you lunge forward or actually leap to perform the slam.
야, 이모탈을 안 해서 모르겠는데 거기는 전투가 좀 이런
And
식인가
then, I
보네.
know, like, of course, with every class in Immortal, they
그러니까
all
난
have
디아4 해가지고
different
막 이렇게
ultimates and,
샤샤샤샤샤샤 막 이러는
primary
거
attack
보다가
skills and so forth. Like, what kind of
좀
two
느릿느릿하네요.
different ultimates, can we
야, 이거 보니까 도적이 선녀다.
Yeah, I could talk a bit
야,
about
도적은
the
진짜 멋있는데
primary attacks.
샤샤샤샤샤 뭐
The first
돌면서
is
막
Ravage.
샤샤샤샤 하는데.
They're basically swinging their polearm around in a 3-hit combo. And right here is the ultimate where they become a 5-hit combo with a stun at the end. And
Dual wielding
또
polearms.
모바일의 한계인가 봄.
I like.
And the other primary attack they have is called Shadow's Edge. It's quite a unique one. It's the first in Immortal where the in melee range, the Blood Knight will do a slash, and for enemies that are further away,
요즘도
they'll
이모탈 많이
actually
하나?
throw the dagger forward. And there are legendary essences that add damage over time or make the dagger ricochet.
Nice. So you can essentially It's good room clear type of
매출이 잘
abilities
나와?
is what I'm hearing.
한국은 거의
so
안
if you
하지,
got a ton of
그쵸?
mobs in
나도
front of you,
사실
especially,
이거를
if the
잘
daggers are
모르겠어.
ricocheting and you mentioned piercing and so forth with the ultimate and everything.
빨리 포
you can
얘기
essentially clear out
해줘.
whole rooms
포
with
얘기해
that.
주세요.
So it's awesome to hear. I know, as you mentioned before,
벌써 14분이 날랐습니다.
tons of legendary essences and everything that are associated to kind of modify skills. I
이게
know,
변신이,
and we're even
오.
seeing here, this is like the abomination that we were talking about.
Abomination!
Why would I want to become the abomination? What do I get from that?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the abomination a bit. The way it works is it is a transformative skill.
야,
that requires,
디아블로4의 신규 캐릭이 나온다면
defeating
비술사가
enemies
나왔으면
to fill the
좋겠습니다.
bar, much like your
마법
ultimate.
부여를
However, it happens
마음껏
much
할 수
more
있는
often,
비술사가 좀
and it
나와주세요.
then transforms your entire
나도
skill
마법 부여 많이
bar
할래요.
into a new primary attack.
망원에 할 수
followed by
있는.
two, specific skills, a blood rush where the blood knight actually dashes forward in a ball of blood. And then there's a 3-hit combo attack where if on the last hit they fly into the air and slam the ground, stunning everyone.
야, 근데 왜 이렇게 프레임이 떨어져 보이냐 이거 왜 이래?
Nice, that's awesome to see. I think the
이게 뚝뚝 끊어지는 게 뭔가 이상한데?
with this update that's coming out on
나
the
옛날엔
13th
800 얼마?
Blood Knight itself, and there are
토익은
like
당연히
even other
쳤죠.
components and that are kind of going to be coming with this actual update. Do you guys
뭔가
have any
영상이 좀
like,
잘못됐나
additional
봐.
information on?
Well,
like,
there's ways to
킹, 뭔가
play it, right?
프레임이
Like,
또
the
계속
things that's really interesting.
드롭되네요.
Like I mean, this is, I think, having a new character class introduced on basically the anniversary of Diablo Immortal is really exciting. Like, it's a great way to celebrate 1 year that Immortal has been at the
아,
hard to believe it's
맞아.
already
이게
been a
뭐
year. It's crazy.
주년일?
But so having a new character, but I've been like a whirlwind barbarian for a year now, and loving that. And so now I'm going to obviously. Well, one of the great things about Immortal is that you can class change. Like, so I can take my
네,
Paragon 500
이
barbarian.
녀석!
No, that's not high. Thank you very much. I can take my Paragon 500 barbarian and turn it into a Blood Knight. Yes. Like, 'cause there's basically
Yes.
3 ways. We have the player who's been playing for a year, like myself. We have the new player, and we have the test driver. Right, is the way to think about that. So maybe you can go through that.
Yeah, totally. So if
어,
you're brand new to
해석해주는
Immortal and have
투수가
never played
사라졌어.
before,
어디
you can
갔어?
play the Blood Knight right out of the gate.
해석해줘.
get a new character completely free.
더
and
해석해주라.
start with the main story
아니,
complete with
내가 해야 돼.
custom
결국
Blood
나니?
Knight VO lines for all of the main quests. And for players like Rod who have been playing for a while and want to convert to this class, I'm happy to say that we've made some major improvements to class change. Strength and intelligence will now
근데
convert properly.
디아3는 클래스
Here's
체인지가
I know,
되나? 왜 저에게 하는
Here's
거지?
a request that a lot of people are asking for. Yes.
Yes, it's going to be great. And also, players will be able to
아,
during
직업
the event
변경이 돼?
change to the
우와.
Blood Knight on a one-day cooldown, and also revert back infinitely. So, if you decide you don't like playing
그
Blood Knight,
들고
you
있는
can
구슬의
revert
적에
day of,
피를
or if you wanna
모아가지고
try it
실패가
again tomorrow,
충전해
you can
싸운다.
go ahead and change
그렇다고
back to
합니다.
Blood Knight.
Nice. Awesome.
And lastly, I want to talk about the Crimson Plane event. So, for Immortal players that are familiar with Fractured Plane, there will be a special Crimson Plane event where there'll be.
So I mean, I think a lot maybe don't know what fractured plane. So maybe just what's the 5-second version of what is fractured plane?
So Fractured Plane is basically a roguelite inside of Immortal where you're able to try out all of the skills and abilities and build towards 15 levels of defeating enemies just to try out different skills.
You basically start with a fresh class, and so you're taking your character. Like I have a very specific build with very specific gear. But if I wanted to go play Fractured Planes, it says, "Oh, you're a barbarian. Here's some random skills. See how far you can get with this," and you build up your gear and stuff as you're playing through this roguelike experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
그걸
And so
디아블로에서
now for
해야지.
the Blood Knight introduction,
필드의
you
다양성 좀
created
제발 좀
Crimson Plane,
해줘라.
which is a version of the same
그걸 왜
experience to go
디아
and test
3에서
drive all
저러고
the
있냐?
different Blood Knight skills.
Exactly. So you'll be able to try out different skills and legendary essences without actually committing to changing to the class. So just try it out, see if you like it.
저걸
and if you do,
디아블로에서
there's
해야지,
always
무슨.
class change available.
Nice.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. So we
이
have,
깨진 평원 같은
and we
경우
have other
랜덤
things
스킬
like I
실수를
mentioned that
얼마나
are
많이
coming in
가는지
this actual
오
update.
그렇다고
I
하네요.
know that for any new player that's
이런
coming
것도
in,
제발
of course, the
디아블로에다
Blood Knight,
넣어주라고.
beforehand, customize it.
아니,
and
얘는
it's
무슨
completely
생각이야, 대체.
free, and
야,
of course,
이런
any
거를
existing character can do class changes
디아블로에서
if they want, or
넣어줘야지.
they can create a new character if they would like to do it that way as well.
대체 디아블로는 왜
But I know we have like a
내
new
머리
legendary
맞은
gem
거야?
that's going to be coming in this actual update as well. And then we even have just other like items associated with this specific patch
It's
that'll
a
be hitting
full
as
set
well.
of legendaries for the Blood
Exactly.
Knight too.
Yeah,
which is
and
great.
we're actually going to be listing out every single legendary
The blog, yeah.
that is available for the Blood Knight on our blog immediately after the stream. So you guys can check out the.
아니 잠깐만
cinematic
이
trailer that we
정도의
showed off for
커스터마이즈
the
왜
Blood Knight
지하폰을
earlier,
아니
on that blog, and of course, read all the details about
왜
what's coming
지하폰을
in
이렇게
this update
나쁘겠어요?
that is hitting on the 15th of July so soon. It's crazy. We do. We're super stoked. The cinematic is amazing, by the way. I just want to like.
Why are you-
사실
for people who
어메이징하지
didn't get to see
않았습니다.
it in full frame rate,
시네매틱도.
They're basically rubbing their noses in it.
Essentially, yeah, like
Go watch
you
it again, please.
see it in the Blizzard Cinematics team. Amazing team. That cinematic is great. Nothing like seeing blood splattered all over some stained glass. It's Diablo, so it makes perfect sense. It's great. But we are super stoked. So yeah, July 13th is when it's going to be coming out. And then of course, again, check diabloimmortal.com immediately after the stream. We'll have a blog up
번만에
there
열어도
for,
같아요,
people
그쵸?
to check out all the
Yeah,
details.
congratulations, guys, on the
아이고.
year. It's been an amazing year for Immortal. And I think people
번방도
who
채팅창
maybe
민심
tried it at
난리나 그럴
launch
것 같긴
and
해요.
haven't gone back to
야
take a
이걸
look at
보니까
it,
좀
like
더 뭔가
the-
이상한데? 야
basically
이거를
every quarter
지하포에
you can do
넣어줘야지.
really major
이게 무슨
updates
짓을
and
하는 거야,
truly
지금?
change the game. So the ability to craft set items, the ability to take your duplicate legendaries and turn that into a currency so that you can make your current legend,
아, 이거
stronger
두 배
and
중이야,
the way
그래?
that you do dungeons
야,
now,
번호
like
좀
the-
빨리
and the
해!
tower, the clan
야,
play,
뭐
like there's
알려줘
just so much else
빨리.
going on.
알려줘,
So
알려.
it's a free-to-play game
나
if you want to
시한다
check it out
이러면.
just to see all the changes.
난
Like I
자꾸
said,
오늘
it's
시할
in a
거예요.
year, it's complete. To me, it's a completely different game in the sense of the different ways that you can
빨리,
approach the content,
보여줘.
which is exciting. But hearing the fact that you fully recorded all VO for the Blood Knight for the campaign, I think it'll be exciting to go back and start over.
Yeah, it's
여론
about
신경
2,000
쓰는
lines in
대사
total.
같았으면
We've got a
님포넛
pair of
같은
really, really
대참사는
awesome
일어나지
님포넛
않았습니다.
걔는 뭐 잘렸다며.
and Ben Prendergast absolutely killed
아니
it as the Blood
시야
Knight. It's
시야
just
뭔
pure
소리 시위
haughtiness and bloodlust
시위한다고.
and action all the way through. We've got some
시위한다고요.
interesting takes on. I was going to say the name of the villain, or Act
어,
3
잡담이랄까
villain in
잡채신할까
Darkwood.
그냥 다
Some
쓸데없는
interesting
소린데.
perspectives there. But yeah, I don't think there's ever really been a better time to re-roll, to start a new run
아니
through the
시야로
story.
아니야 미쳤나봐.
Well, thank you guys.
무슨
very much.
소리예요?
Congratulations.
Thanks so much,
thank you.
Rod. We're stoked.
어
And
끝났다.
we're going to be now switching over to D4 content. We're actually going to take like a really short break because we got to swap people in. This room is only so big, and we also need mics off of people and everything. But we're going to be swapping in into our Diablo 4 segment. So we'll see you here in a minute or so.
또 쉬는 거야 안 돼. 빨리 돌아와. 돌아와. 자 무슨 영상이냐? 이게 그거야 시즌 1이야? 아니 뭐야 이모탈 영상 아니겠지 설마? 이거 시즌 1이다. 아니 제이. 하던 거잖아. 아니 왜 이. 이 사람이 살아남은 게 레전드긴 해. 아 여러분들 제가 그 학교 끝난 다음에 그 스토리 다시 봤거든요. 스토리는 정말 뭐 없더라고. 정말 뭐 없더라. 자 이나리우스 너무 빨리 퇴장해가지고 참나. 자꾸 아버지만 찾다 가버렸음. 아버지 제가 뭘 어떻게 해야 합니까? 어떻게 해야 합니까?
There we fight true in his
영상 소리 켜줘 오케이. 자 요정도 조금 켰음. 너무 큰가?
blessed. Leave the
좀만 줄이자. 야, 너무 시끄러운데. 좀 더 줄였지. 아니 이럴 때만 해도 이나리우스랑 인간들 개센 줄 알았음. 솔직히 이거만 보고 막 되게 웅장한 싸움이 기다릴 줄. 저는 이것만 보고 막 이나리우스랑 일리스랑 개쩌는 싸움을 보여줄 줄 알았는데. 야, 이나리우스 농담이 아니라 이 이후의 시네마틱을 보면은 그 조그만 몰락자들도 막 되게 고생해서 이기더라고. 레전드였어. 막 몰락자 몇 마리 붙으니까 으잉 놓아라 이 조그만 놈들 막 이러더라고.
What happened to the awkward hello? You're supposed to go hello.
That's gonna be my intro for
I'm technically
everything.
not back.
Wait.
Well, you are technically back. I mean, you
I
were
mean,
in other streams and other times.
Correct.
I'm not back. I'm new.
Oh yes,
Okay.
Tim is new. Tim also has the best voice in the world.
Yeah. Wow.
So
It's really nice.
Tim is just.
자,
gonna
리드
talk to
게임
us.
프로듀서랑
Wow, okay. I didn't prepare
게임
for that.
디렉터까지 다 왔네요.
Maybe you should
자,
actually introduce people.
Yes,
Or...
I will introduce people. We are now joined by our wonderful Diablo4 developers. We have Tim Ismay. May I introduce you?
자, 아무도 소개한다고 합니다. 디아블로4 개발자들이고요.
Producers on Diablo4, specifically focused on seasons. I say that because if you ask me questions outside of the season's context, I have no idea what's going on.
And you said plural.
You said
Wait,
plural.
there's more than one
I-
season.
I'm trying to build more than one
season.
Yeah.
There is more than one season. That's going to be, we're revealing that.
Or that's job security right there.
I'm just asking for it.
Wait, we're
자,
supposed to be thinking
이
about job
정도
security?
사운드 정도로.
And we have
Oh,
a
yeah.
familiar face.
Joey P.
Yes, I'm Joe Pipora. I'm the associate game director for the live service, and I'm excited to talk about season 1 today at last.
But first,
일단은 시즌 1에 대해서
first-
설명하는 게 메인 컨텐츠가
Adam has built
왔습니다.
everything
오늘.
possible to
We
talk
can't
about
start-
except the season.
We can never start talking about seasons until we talk about something else first. But there are cool things to actually talk about.
Correct. Obviously, it's been a little over a month since Diablo4's launched.
It's only been a month.
벌써 이만큼 됐네요, 시간이.
If you include
No, but you're right. It is.
벌써
Like,
런치는 시험 게 지나가지고
the amount
이제
of
시즌을
feedback we
내놔
get
빨리.
about like, hey, this thing, and you're like, it's been like 5 weeks. Like,
Exactly.
give us a second.
Exactly.
So,
It has been a month, a little bit more than a month since Diablo4 has
wait,
actually.
how did you
launched.
guys get a season done in 4 weeks? That's incredible.
We started it well before the game launched.
Oh, that's smart.
We actually released it.
We're extremely good at our job.
Wait, so you
I don't want to get in
started
the weeds,
before the
everybody.
game
I don't
launched?
wanna get in the weeds, everybody,
얘기해도
but,
지금
like, we
얘기할
did
게 별로
start
없지
before
않나?
the game launched to make sure that we could actually release
I thought you were just
something.
gonna say zombies are really easy to make, and so therefore.
엘라스는
Yeah,
Oh my
obviously,
God.
that's what it is.
체험 한도가 아니라
Also, people are saying that your
마침내긴
mic
해요.
is low, Mr. Joey P.
My mic
Yeah,
is low.
so I don't
Okay,
know if
I'll bring it in a little
we'll
bit.
fix that. I promise. Live broadcast, everyone.
I
Live
can
broadcast.
project everybody.
Yeah,
That's
he
what's
can-
going to take.
He can start screaming.
Just scream at everybody.
And you haven't seen
So I
Joey P
interrupted. So
scream.
you,
Sorry.
you're talking
Sorry,
about the 5 week. I was just shocked by the 5 week thing, but anyway. So
Correct.
yes, it's been 5
so
weeks.
obviously it's been 5 weeks since we launched. We've had numerous updates to the game, hot fixes, patches. We actually had a campfire chat in between. Where we talked about even a big update that was coming before season 1.
13-page.
Yes, 13
우와,
page. Which
그렇게
people were
많아?
like, well, that must have been like 14.
이게 개 많다. 이번에 업데이트 관련된 게 엄청 30페이지랑 30페이지래.
It still was very big. It was like 11 pages on the actual
개
site.
많은데?
But we've addressed a lot of feedback and everything related to the game. We still have
우리들은
more
그 유저
feedback that
피드백을
we're
많이
actually going to be
봤다고 하는 것
addressing. And I
같습니다.
will say that later this afternoon there is going to be another patch, climb patch, surprise, spoilers, or announcement.
너 농담 좀 중간에 섞지
That's going to be hitting
마.
all platforms later this afternoon. There will be patch notes posted this afternoon.
또 패치
Not
있다고
as,
해요.
very much not as chonky as 103, but it does address additional feedback and issues that people have been reporting over to us.
제발 야만용사
yeah,
담대한 좀 롤백해 빨리.
Come on, put you on the spot.
Funny enough, did I actually have this printed out?
I don't think you can say that 1.04 is coming this afternoon and not give an example of something we're fixing.
이거야 이거.
I know
자,
that they are actually doing a gameplay fix in regards to, or a gameplay adjustment to Helltide chess, so that Helltide chess will now actually drop unique items.
헬타이드
Have the chance to drop
지옥물격.
you
지금
guys.
뭐가 있네?
Sorry.
헬타.
Not like a guarantee.
지옥물격 관련된 게 있다고
Now
하네요.
that's quoted, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
but
So that's Okay, that sounds stupid for me as the GM to go like, I thought they already could drop
지옥마
uniques
맞아
for telltale
체스.
tests, so I
지옥
was-
물결
I-
상자
I
관련된 거라고
was
합니다.
mistaken there.
Yeah. It's so there are some content
어,
types
보여준다,
that the
준다. 못
rewards
들었어,
are not
유니크
dropping
아이템
like unique items.
떨어진다고
So it's like
하네요.
like Whisper bounty caches, for example, don't have a chance to drop unique items when you turn in for those.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, but I think that there's opportunities for us to continue to like try to expose this more as we talk about these things moving forward. But yeah, this is an opportunity now. We want to make sure that when players are trying to target farm for certain kinds of uniques for their builds they need to grab in order to bring those things online, that those Whisper caches really can be used as a way to or not Whisper caches, the tortured gifts you can get from the Helltides events. Those are really good opportunities to go and try to go for those.
And that's this
그래서
afternoon.
뭐가
So
됐든
once
헬타이드에
104
대한
goes that once you're
변경점들이 좀 있을 거라고 합니다. 말이
uniques
근데
can
이분은
drop
말이
in.
좀
That's
빨라요.
right.
발음도
That's
좀
right. That's this
힘들다.
afternoon.
Yep, and I will say, like,
제가
we've been
영재랄이
getting, like
아니라가지고,
we've mentioned, I think many
이상하게
times already in
말도
this stream,
빠르고,
we have been
잘하고
getting a lot of
이분은.
feedback related to
이분은 발음이 좋네.
bugs,
휴.
issues, or even just like general gameplay feedback, and it's something that the team has been reading through and getting through, and those are things that obviously we're addressing as we get through all these different updates in the future and everything.
We're building a big backlog. Like this is the thing I was making the joke about. They started before, like seasons started before we launched, just to try to set expectations. Like we're moving as fast as we can, but we have to move also safely because if we move too fast, we can kind of vibrate the game out of stability. And so we're trying to be as reactive as we can, but in a
아무튼
safe way.
최선을
And knowing we have a
다하겠다는
large
얘기네요.
backlog of Season 1 was already well in flight, and Season 2 is also
일단은
very much
열심히
well in
최선하고
flight.
있지 뭐, 그쵸?
And so we're trying to make those adjustments. So we hear the feedback. So please don't take the lack of instantaneous response as in we don't hear you. We hear you. We hear about I want to lock
우리
my
얘기는 다 듣고
inventory. We
있다고
hear
하고.
you about all the different types of things that you're giving us feedback on, and we appreciate that
그래, 뭐
feedback.
대충
And we're
기다려달라는
doing our
말이긴
best
해요.
to address it as quickly and as safely as possible. So, so just trying to manage expectations that sometimes it might feel, but again, it's only been 5 weeks. This is a game that we are going to, we're going to support for years to come. This is a foundation of, we said the launch was the beginning, not the end. And so
아니야.
we're going to
그런데
be
여긴
continuing to
패치는
support the game through many
다음
seasons
주에
and through expansions and what have you. And so
이 차크라니
please
여긴 패치한다고.
just allow us some time to catch up and work through our backlog to get to those items that we know that you care about.
And I do want to note that we're, as we were in preseason, we were obviously shooting out a lot of updates really quickly. And this is something we talked about a little bit on the campfire chat, but we are going to get into a more systematic way of being able to update the game. So it's not just going to be like ad hoc, hey, guess what, a new client patch type of thing, unless there's an emergency. But yeah, people start to find some familiarity with how we actually update the game around seasons and client patches that may occur, whether they are in between or only on seasons and so forth. So we'll have that actually communicated out, and people then know what to expect going forward when we do have
너무 급하게 생각하지 마라.
different
우리는 이제 오픈한 지 5주밖에 안 된 게임이다.
I think it's really important that
이런
we
게
have
지금
now
핵심이긴 해요.
talked about things we did in the preseason. We've made a number of changes on the balance side. We've responded to a lot of player feedback. We've got 1.04 coming out later on this afternoon. But Adam, what do the people want to hear about?
Zombies! So we're actually now going to talk about
그런 걸로. 지금 내가 들은 게
we
맞니
do want to
지금
talk about
설마?
season 1.
내가
Season
설마
1
지금 내가
is
귀를 들은
coming,
게 맞니
and we
지금?
actually have a really
방금은
cool
좀.
trailer to show off before we jump into it. So
일단 들어보자.
hit it, Rich and Matt.
뭐야?
I am writing to you because although a great evil is receding from Sanctuary, a new festering curse now spreads its corruption across the
막판에
land.
커럽션.
More
새로운
dangerous,
악의 뭐가 파도 같은 게 밀려오고 있고.
malignant than I could have imagined. I have found a way to stop this plague.
플레이 전염성한테 부패를 막아야 된다.
These monsters
커럽션.
from their very core and turn it to our advantage in destroying them. But I cannot do this alone.
혼자서 못합니다. 도와주세요,
My
영이요.
allies have fallen. My strength is dwindling. The malignant are relentless and without mercy. I need help.
접속해달라는 얘기.
You.
지신녀보다 말리그넌트는 뭐야? 말리그넌트? 7월 20일! 23은 뭐야? 아,
There we have
20년!
it. The
오!
first
야,
season of
진짜
Diablo
20일이구나!
4 coming out on July 20th. The season of the Malignant. Lots to talk about there. Lots to talk about there. So we're actually going to jump into it. No, I'm just kidding.
빨리 얘기하고 싶어.
But obviously, a lot of people want to know what's going on. You know, we even teased it on social media yesterday, where something was corrupting Sanctuary.
올렸죠, 트위터에다가.
I guess Tim, Joe, like
Yeah, no, okay,
explain
so
to us what's going on now.
So season 1, the season of the Malignant. So our very, very first season in the game is going to basically take place after the events of Diablo 4. So after the redacted and the redacted have happened and the player has finished redacting the redacted, once all that's out of the way, that's when things are really going to kick off in the world of Sanctuary, kind of step off from that point. And there is a new threat that's basically emerged in Sanctuary. There's this malignance, there's this corruption that's begun to spread throughout like the hearts of the creatures throughout the world, and that's everything from like beasts to humans to demons themselves. Everything in between can be corrupted by this malignance as beginning to take root and fester inside inside people. And it's basically kind of like it's
전생 야수와 인간의 저주가
them,
퍼진다고.
right? It's turning into these bloodthirsty fiends. Effectively, they're going out trying to destroy everything. And it's threatening Sanctuary at a very, very, very
우리
high
시간
level.
21일이야.
The player's going to come across a new character that they're going to introduce to over the course of the season named Cormand, who we actually saw in the trailer there. Cormand is, yeah, there he is.
이 친구가 시즌1의 신인물이구나.
Cormand is an ex-member of the Cathedral of Light. He used to be a priest of the Cathedral of Light. And he's taken it upon himself to start trying to dive deeper into this new malignant threat that's risen over the course of these days following the events of Diablo 4's main campaign. But he's finding himself maybe a little out of his depth. You say, Tim? Like, what do you think about Cormand?
Yeah, he's trying to fix the problem on his own, and then I think when he's not 100% successful, he comes to the player and says, "Hey, you were really helpful in the past. Could I get a hand from you?" So that's kind of where things start.
Yeah, he's very. I think that you'll find like he's a person. Everything in the room is on fire, but he's sitting there like, "I can fix it. We can find a way to solve this, right?" But he's a great new character to the player to introduce over the course of the season. But that's really just where things kick off.
뭐가 되든 일단 유저들한테
players will start
도와달라는
the
얘기래요.
season
자, 근데
of
마왕님은 조금
Malignant
의미심장한
actually
거는
in Kyovashad,
스토리
and they're going to gain
연속이라는 거.
access
난
to like that, like
시즌1이라 그래가지고
the beginning of
그냥
the story of the season pretty much right
그냥
away.
뭐
You know, so you're able to start off right at
서브 이야기인
level
줄
1,
알았는데
like jumping out of the
스토리
gate, and
연관성이
then we'll start
좀
like
있는
following
듯.
the thread of this new season storyline.
And we're going to talk about the
스토리
transition
라인이랑
from
관련 있는 것 같네요.
the current Eternal Realm into the season afterwards. We're going to get through the season information first.
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
Well, then I know people are really curious about what happens to my current character. How do I think about that transition? But we'll get to that after we get through the season
자,
details.
정확히 좀
Yeah,
얘기
that's
그래
absolutely
얘기
right.
좀 해주세요.
So that's the kind of like the high level like what's happening in the
That's
world
the
of Sanctuary.
theme, right?
That's the
We
theme,
have a
yeah.
seasonal theme with a seasonal story, but like, what about the mechanic? On top of the theme, there's usually the seasonal mechanics. So what's the mechanics that we're looking at?
We're trying to add more stuff to seasons that appeal to everything that a player does in Diablo 4. So we are adding story, the elements of what you're going to find out about what is actually happening to Sanctuary, but then we want things that are new challenges for the player, things that you can fight that maybe you haven't fought before, as well as new powers.
그건
things that you
알겠다고요.
can build your character in a different way, a different direction than maybe you did in any previous season, or in this case, in the preseason when you had just the Eternal Realm. So hitting all of those notes, we're starting with a mechanic around the threat. So what is the threat? The Malignant. We've been talking about it a lot. Where does the Malignant actually show up? That actually shows up throughout the entire game. When you're playing in the world of Sanctuary, anytime you encounter any elite monster, there's a chance that it will spawn as a malignant version of that monster. So that malignant version is going to have these growths on it and some additional power. After you kill it, a heart will actually appear, the exposed malignant heart that was causing this.
그거구나.
If you then interact with that heart
이게 감염된
by using
심장인가?
a cage of binding, it now starts a ritual where it's pulling all the malignants in and a new, even more powerful version of that elite is spawned.
Yep.
Why would you want this?
새로
How does
한
this
번 더
help you? Well,
태어난다.
if you can
강해진
manage to
버전으로.
beat that even more powerful version where you see these other minions are now helping it, these other malignant creatures,
이걸 잡으면 어떻게
now it
되는데?
drops the caged heart. You've actually put all that
내가
malignant
봉인하는
power
느낌이구나.
into this
자,
cage
말리그넌트에
that is an
감염된
item that
몹을
you can
잡으면은
use that is
그
kind
심장이
of like a gem.
떨어지고 그걸 더
It's like a
클릭하면은
gem in the sense that you
걔가
can socket it
강화된
into
친구로
gear.
다시 나오는데
It is
걔를
very much
죽여버리면은
not like a gem in the sense that it has
심장이
an
나옵니다.
enormous amount of power. Think of a legendary item, the kind of power that's in there.
하면은 뭐
It's like that,
나오려나?
maybe even a little bit
이거
more
얻으면
than
뭘
that.
주려나?
So you can take these malignant hearts, you can socket them into your jewelry, and that gives you these kind of stupid new broken builds that are totally
보석처럼
balanced.
장비에 장착한다고
They
합니다.
are extremely powerful. So these are new options of how you can play the game.
Yeah, so this is really cool, right? So one of the things we really want to do with each season, to Tim's point, is we want to make sure that we're providing new ways for players to engage with Diablo 4. New problems for them to solve, new ways for them to customize their characters and kind of do new cool stuff. And that's what Malignant Hearts and the powers associated with Malignant Hearts really allow us to do.
느낌이 오고
So
있습니다,
one of
여러분.
these things, so yes, you can take a Malignant Heart that you've managed to collect from one of the consumed that you managed to kill, one of these super malignant creatures that you've killed this way, and you can socket them into your gear. We have over 30. We have 32 new. I'm not gonna say like over 30. We have 32 new malignant powers.
You know exactly how many now.
Technically, it's 32. So we have 32 new malignant powers are going out this way. These are new legendary power-like abilities. You can see this one here: critical strikes, electrically charged creatures that for a set amount of damage. So these like there's a lot of really powerful things like this that you'll be able to kind of like interact with over the course of time. But each of the malignant hearts you're collecting are actually like a category. They're associated with a color. So if like brutal hearts, for example, or like have a blue color to them, and they'll only go in infested sockets you'll find on rings and jewelry during the season of the malignant of a matching color.
I see.
So when you're hunting for like, when you're
맞춰줘야
like
돼?
finding new amulets and rings or gambling at the like the opals vendor, whatever it is you want to do, you're kind of looking for specific socket colors.
Or if you're getting a
소피 컬러가
unique
따로
ring from the
주어질
new
거고 거기에
Helltide chest
맞춰가지고
rewards
맞는
as you're
색깔의
playing from the
심장을 박을 수
Helltide
있다고
Right.
하네요.
If you happen to luck out and get Mother's Embrace because you need another Mother's Embrace,
경우에는 기존 보석은
One will
확인했다.
never do. But what's interesting, like with the, so there's
벌써
three
없냐는
different types of
거야.
color sockets, yes?
there's 3 different types of colored sockets, but there's 4 different types of malignant hearts.
Go on.
Oh, well, okay, I guess I
이런
will.
게 다른
So
게임에
the last malignant heart type is
햄스터냐?
called like basically a raffle. It's an extremely powerful malignant heart type. They're very rare to find. They will fit in any colored socket as you go. And you kind of want a combination of all of these. So even though that the wrathfuls are pretty strong, you're really only looking to probably have like 1 or 2 of these based on what you
자,
might
네
actually
가지의
need for your
타입의
build,
색깔이 있다고
over the
하네요.
course of time. So it's fun, like like really want to be able to experiment with again
그러네.
creating these
저기
different problems
파란색이랑
for
뭐
players to
있네요.
solve, different ways for players to engage with things, and really change up that experience by virtue of adding these new powers. They can unlock
근데 왜
different
아까
builds
무기는
potentially for
색깔이
classes,
없는
to
거지?
Tim's point, and just basically be like a really
야,
fun,
이제 나 이
exciting way
레어템을
for
먹을
players
때
to kind
소켓
of
색깔까지
inject
이제
new power into
파밍해야
the
되는
experience.
거야?
But you're looking for
캐터는
the,
옵션에
so can the jeweler, when the jeweler ran out
파란색
from that
삽니다.
socket to,
파란 소켓 삽니다.
you know, a piece of
비싼
jewelry, are they able to add colored sockets, or are those only
그게
found?
Choose the color.
게임이니까.
Anytime a ring would roll with a socket when the season of malignant starts, it's always going to have a color associated with it. There's not like you couldn't get like just a
재밌어
regular
보이긴
jewel.
한다. 이거
But even a
괜찮긴
jeweler
한데?
created one? Like if
그거
I have a ring
희망적이야.
with no socket, when I do the jeweler, it'll be colored?
It'll always be colored. Yeah,
so
it'll
you
always
would
be
be
an
able to do it,
infested socket in this way.
Got it.
Yeah.
But that's true for unique. So if I'm looking for I have a unique ring, like you talked about, but I want the blue version. I could find a unique with the red socket, and I could find it with a yellow socket. So I'm looking for a blue. So there'll
you
be
might be able-
multiple versions of the uniques as well, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
뭐 그렇다고
So yeah,
하네요.
fun new stuff to look forward to, and that's just, I mean, we showed in the video earlier, like the player fighting a malignant creature. There's a chance for, as Tim pointed out, like there's a chance for all kinds of elites out there in the world to be malignant in nature,
Right.
which makes them a little bit more powerful. But then when you kill them and you go and you actually use the cage of binding
세상
to
변경이라도
capture their
없습니다.
heart. Then you fight that super
지금이나
consumed,
아이템은 괜찮아요.
like,
시즌
conversion. It's like,
넘어가면 어차피
that's
다
like buffing
체인지가
nearby
괜찮아.
monsters. It spawns a bigger like combat in that
Right.
scene. There's more to look forward to, and those get tougher and tougher. And you want to fight higher and higher level versions of those in higher world tiers to get even better versions of those hearts.
Yeah, so you can get stronger versions of
이걸로
the hearts
아이템
as
레벨을
you get
대체돼
further into the
있구나.
game. And you might be
뭘
thinking like,
파워풀이라는
okay,
이런
does that mean like the
의미네.
old, like the crappy hearts that I got earlier, are those useless? You can actually break those down at the crafter as well to get a crafting material out of them that allows you to craft new
그쵸.
items, including invokers. So invokers
822에
are
이거
something you can use a
가지고
little bit
그거
further on
하려나
once you
본데?
finish the
팀장도
campaign
더 센 게
of
나중에
season
나온
1. You will unlock the ability to go and use these at a specific place called a malignant tunnel. So if you are
By the way,
trying to
that's also the name of my colonoscopy.
Okay.
There we go.
아직까진 괜찮아. 이 정도는 꽤나
It's a
희망적이야.
serious thing when you're over 50.
This
So you
is-
should have that.
그거잖아.
This is when
That's a good
we-
point. So if
내
you have a
몸에
malignant
그
tunnel,
감염된 아이템,
should get yourself
소켓이
checked
있는 아이템을
So in
많이
the world of
모아가지고
Sanctuary, when we say
심장을
malignant
막
tunnel,
박아
we
놓으면은
mean,
그게
hey,
막
I'm a player
시너지를
and
일으켜가지고
I
아예 막
actually
새로운
want to
트레이드
get more of these
만들 수
hearts, but
있는
it's just a random
오
chance
드디어
on the
다변화
leaves out of the
가능해지나요
world.
여러분?
Where can I intentionally find more of them? There are these malignant tunnels. So there are actually places across the world where the malignance is manifesting in these new dungeons. So if you specifically want to go find more malignant hearts, you can hunt down these tunnels.
Yep.
You can go in and hey, there are more malignant there. So there's a higher chance of
이게
finding
새로운
monsters
던전이
there.
인보커라고
And
하는
you want to guarantee
악성
it.
동물
Man, I really
동물?
need a very specific
임팩티드
type of
원하면서
heart.
있네요.
How do I make that even more
감염된
likely?
새로운 동굴
That's when you
던전인데
take your
여기에서
crafted
아마
invoker, you go all the way to the end.
감염된 아이템이 나오는 것인가 여러분?
And you can use it on a malignant outfit. And you use it on that outfit.
나오는
it
걸 좀
now
보여줘야지,
spawns that
나오는 거를,
specific
멍청아.
type of malignant.
야,
It's gonna have the color
감염된
associated with
아이템이
the
나오는 걸
heart you're trying to
보여줘야지.
find. You kill that
아니,
and you're going to get
뭐 하냐?
the specific heart. So there's a little bit more
감염된
target
템이
farming
나오는
you
거
can do as
보여줘야지.
you
어떻게
approach the end
생겼는지를.
game of season 1.
Actually, I have like if go to the C
아,
video,
방금 나온
it will
거야?
be able to show you.
그냥 일반
going
템이었는데
into
방금?
an evoker event where you can go in and sort of, which I've heard called the turkey baster from hell. Basically, is what an evoker looks like.
It does kind of, yes.
자, 이
That
감염된
wasn't the
동굴이고
art direction.
인포그
but
정말로 그쵸?
yeah, that's where we ended up.
이런 이벤트가
Yeah,
있구나.
these malignant
아
tunnels,
고를 수
you're
있네
gonna find that
미친.
there
아.
are these masses of malignants that you're able to go and interact with, and each of the
That's the
tunnels
one we
has
wanna watch.
a few different ones that can
특정
potentially
대답이
spawn different
올라간다리.
colors of malignant outgrowths that can spawn from those. So it gives you those opportunities to go and like really target farm as Tim's
내가
pointed out,
원하는
like
색깔의
certain kinds
보석을
of
놀고
malignant hearts as the player's
골라서
progressing through the
진행할 수
experience.
있는?
Yeah.
So why don't we show like we were just showing it? What?
Technical
Yeah, show the one you were just showing.
테크니 빨리
because that was
좀 더
the invoker
보여준다고
event. So
합니다.
basically, there's a growth. You get to the end of the tunnel.
얘 눌러
You were able to
또 얘
set
나오고
basically
얘를
essentially
잡으면은
requesting a monster of a particular color. Yes, you're saying like I
아,
want a blue
색깔이
heart.
이렇게
A chance
나온다.
to get a blue heart by trying to defeat the blue monster. Yes.
That's right, and some of these, are, like particularly later on in the experience,
지하실에서는
the
이게
most
잘
powerful
나온다고
hearts
합니다,
you
여러분.
get are going to be delivered from things like these invoker encounters that we can go and interact with. So yeah, something we're very excited
So
about.
basically, they use an invoker on the one of the pods,
That's right. Yeah, the outgrowths from this malignant mass.
which then creates a blue monster for you to fight. You have to take that down, which will then. So does this one go through the same mechanic where I have to kill it, try to capture heart to kill
Yeah,
the harder thing?
when this thing pops up after you kill this one, you don't actually have to capture it. You're fighting the powerful version of it like immediately.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, so you don't have to do the 1-2.
That's right.
Got it. So that's nice. So it's kind of a little like the sigil crafting, where you basically, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm not using right now. I can craft it down so that I can focus what malignant hearts I want. Because maybe my build, I know I want a brutal heart, but I haven't running into any blue malignants out there in the world. So now I can go into a malignant tunnel, fight my way to the end, have an opportunity to use the invoker to create a blue malignant to go
이거
after its heart.
판매되려나 뭐
That's right.
글쎄요.
Yeah. Let's call it
되려나?
out.
And I know
That's all I'm here to do is summarize.
That's good.
he's like, I will take everything you said, summarize it into 2 sentences. And I know, like, obviously with the story and so forth, there are like new boss
원하는
and
색의
so forth.
심장이
Yeah, there's
있으면은
new-
악성 동굴을
We're not-
덮치면
we're
된다고
not
합니다.
redacted, but
지하실을
it is-
이용해달라.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is worth
there's new
아무튼
bosses
지하실
for
좀
players to
이용해
fight this
주세요라고
season.
하네요.
There are new legendary items for players to collect this season.
Correct.
뉴 레전더리.
There's our
새로운
legendary
고유
pouch
아이템이다.
set for players to collect. There's
보스야?
new
보스?
items for players
보스야?
to collect.
Now those new unique legendaries and the unique uniques.
There you
Thanks
go.
for that. Those are not just in the seasonal realm, though, right? Are those things that are also showing up in the eternal?
That's right. Those will also show up in the eternal realm.
아이템과
So yeah, if you're
보스들이다.
a player who's like really trying to continue to progress your character in the eternal realm, there's now a few new items for you to go try to hunt for and use to kind of augment and change
기대되는구나.
the build.
This is the moment where I can do the producer thing.
okay, yeah,
So
please.
you probably saw before on the screen when we looked at the cinematic, it was awesome. And we said July 20th. Oh my God, there it is, the day it's coming out. We are actually putting out the patch a little bit earlier. So just for awareness, so everyone knows, you're going to see your game patching on July 18th. That is all of the stuff coming to you that is going to turn on July 20th.
Balance
정말
changes,
싫어요?
new
야,
items.
7월 18일부터
So
20일까지
July 18th is actually anything
닫는다는
that shows
거야,
up
지금?
on the Eternal Realm is there right away. If you just want to continue playing the
아니지.
game
그
as
얘기는 안
normal on
되겠지.
your
18일에
existing
한다는
character
거지,
or
패치를?
new Eternal
나
characters you
닫는다는
want,
줄.
July 18th, the new
깜짝
legendaries and
놀랐네.
uniques that they were just talking about will be available to you on the Eternal Realm, as well as any other improvements, balance
선행
changes,
패치를 한다는
rewards
정도지.
changes that we've made. Those will be there right away on July 18th. July 20th, the
놀랬어.
season turns on. You can now create seasonal characters.
I think it's like going back to managing expectations. I think one of the things we've been trying to be really clear about with Seasons is that it is not a continuation of the main campaign storyline. Like we've been trying to use
야, 근데
phrases like
세템 보스
it's a new
유니크는
quest
좀
line.
불안하다. 준비된 게
Working with
없다는 거야
Foreman
지금 그러면?
to solve the malignant is a big,
지금
it's
보여줄 게
obviously
없다는
the
소리
journey you're
같은데요.
on, but it's not about
그거는
the
시즌
narrative
컨텐츠가
journey.
아니라
It's not
가지고
extending that story. It's
이번에
sort of a
준비 안
side
했습니다.
story
천천히
inside the
기다려주세요.
open world. Is that
Yeah, it
fair?
just takes place after the events of Diablo 4. But you're absolutely right. You know, this is a new self-contained story within the season of Malignant, which is great because it just gives us a lot of, like, it affords us a lot of opportunities to tell an exciting story and to create like these new big features that kind of go along with that and support it.
So as I'm playing through that now, it would be amazing if there was some way to sort of track my accomplishments through the season. I don't know, maybe some sort of journey perhaps
Yeah, so
would be really...
you want to track your seasonal journey through some kind of feature.
또
I don't know
잡다한
if I could tee that
얘기하는구나.
up any higher for you. We went from golf to
Yeah, went from golf to t-ball really fast. Yeah, no, absolutely. So this is obviously with season 1 where we're going to bring out the season journey feature, which I know we've talked a little bit about on stream before, but I guess it's worth maybe calling out and maybe a little bit more clarity.
Hey, look, it's this, but
아,
without redacted all
이게
over.
시즌 전이라 너무 저번 전인가 했네.
no
시즌
This
패스잖아.
is the battle pass.
난뭔 전이 해가지고 뭔 시즌 전이요. 우리가 알아서 할 거야 했는데 뭐 이게 시즌 패스구나.
So the season journey is separated into
패스
7
패스였습니다,
chapters.
여러분.
You know, and like these
아,
major
그 자꾸
chapters.
전이
Each of those
해가지고 뭔
chapters has a number
여행했는데
of
이게.
objectives inside each of them in order to allow you to progress that chapter.
And you don't have to do all of them?
You don't have to do all of them. You have to do a subset of them in order to advance to the next chapter. So I think it's really cool. So like objective to objective, you're going to be earning favor drops, which can be used to fuel your battle pass, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. Yeah. But you're also, for your chapter completion moments, you're getting big drops of that favor that's going to be used like an experience point value for your battle pass. But you're also going to be getting some like item rewards, and importantly, you're going to be unlocking new legendary aspects, ones that you can't normally get through the Codex of Power, through like dungeon completion, and also many of our new legendary aspects we're adding in the season. If you're playing in the seasonal realm, you can collect that for your Codex of Power by going to the season journey. So it's a great way for you to introduce yourself to some of these new things as you're kind of playing through.
Yeah, I love this. Like one of the things that's hard about, for people who know Diablo 3 and its sort of journey.
Hold on, wait. Do you love this?
I love this.
Oh, that actually feels
아,
really good.
이거는 여정이야? 시즌 패스 아니야?
The notion around,
아,
like,
없죠.
I like the
다행이다.
fact that the
시즌 패스인
subset
줄.
aspect of it, because I know there are certain things. I'll pick a
디아3
stupid
이런 게
example.
있나요?
Like maybe I hate sellers for some reason. I'm a seller hater, and so I never want to complete a seller. Then the fact that I can advance chapter 1 to go to
이거는
chapter 2
약간-
without ever doing what lurks below.
그냥 약간 이거
I think
달성하면
that's great,
추가
'cause
요구도
that's-
드립니다.
I find
그치?
even in
어째 보상이
situations-
개구리더라.
I have other games
뭐
where
위상
they're
몇 개랑
like, you
이상
must do this thing
허브주머니
that
주고
you really
있어.
don't want to do in
화내려고.
order to progress. And the fact that I don't have to do that here, that I can choose a subset of things to continue my progress, I think is really smart.
Yeah, I think it's really good to hear.
아,
It's one of the things
다음에도
we really want
다음
to do is make
챕터로
sure that,
넘어갈
like,
수 있는 걸
like,
두
the
번째
base example
장소
of this is like
중.
really like letting players use our fields of hatred as opportunities to kind of like progress their characters instead of the season. But we don't, and we want to include that
Which
in
is
the
the
season
PvP
journey,
fields, yeah.
which is the PvP content in the game. But we don't want to make that like a requirement that you must go do this content in order to progress your season journey. We want to give players the option to do this if they choose.
시즌
I do
콘텐츠가
want to call
그걸로
out here as
끝인
well,
것
with
같습니다.
the season journey, and I think you're going to call it out in some other places, is that
보유랑
it
보스랑 이런
can
건
be
준비된 게
confusing
없나
to
봐요.
players initially that you go to this battle pass screen, you click on the season journey button. Do I have to buy the battle pass to get this? No. Everyone has access to the season journey. This is a base feature that everybody is engaging with. Actually, everybody has access to the battle pass too. You're engaging with, even if you never pay a cent, you are engaging with the battle pass. You're getting free
In the
stuff.
seasonal realm.
In the seasonal realm.
Yes, in the
Right after
지금
the reminder,
얘네들 그
in the
내실 다니는
seasonal
거뭐
realm.
릴리티라 이런 거
There is no
많아가지고
season journey if you're not in the season.
혼쭐나고
That's very
있는데
important. It
이거까지
only
막
exists-
내실이라
There's no
그러면은
battle pass if you're
그
not in the
여론이도
season.
야랄할 것 같아가지고
absolutely
비박하는
correct.
것 같습니다.
So yeah, that's the
안 해도
essentially
괜찮아.
the
이건 안 해도
works
괜찮은
of
거야.
those
내실
final
아니야.
objectives, those final
그냥
chapters
하는
are really, really
괜찮아.
tough to
안 해도
complete.
돼.
You get some like special
내실
like,
아님.
like special like titles
시즌 내실 아님. 괜찮은.
that path. So we're excited to see players like engage with it and for us to continue to support it in future seasons.
And so we saw the
디아3
season
여정
journey
통과 좋아요.
grants you a
다행이에요.
lot of favor to go
Yeah.
towards your battle pass, but you also earn favor just out in the world killing stuff. And
That's right. Anything that's like killing monsters, completing like whispers and dungeons and things like all of these things will be earning you favor.
그래,
as
그놈의
you, as you
위스퍼스
kind
좀
of
좀
play through the
해봐라.
season.
Right.
So anything that's getting you experience points is your chance to give you that favor as well.
펄체이스
if
프리미엄이
you have
뭐냐고
never
저거.
played the campaigin yet,
저
like or you're about to buy the
펄체이스
game for the first time
프리미엄이
with the season,
뭐냐고요.
for
그래서
example.
Right.
아까 있잖아
I'll
저거.
be like, okay, I'm going to roll a seasonal character. I'm going to play the campaign. The
뭐냐고.
fact that
누가 봐도 저거는
while I'm playing
현질이잖아.
the campaign, I'm killing stuff and I'm still earning favor.
저 아래에
Like
있는
this stuff is
저건가
still
말이랑
progressing
의복
in the
이런 거?
background, right? In
That's
terms of-
absolutely correct.
I just won't run into
스킨류들.
any. I won't run into any malignant until I finish the campaign.
That's absolutely right. But you will,
저기야,
as you
저
play,
말에
if
있는 게
you make a new
그건가
character
봅니다.
to your point, Rod, on the seasonal realm,
프리미엄을
you're playing through the
구매해가지고
campaign, you will be earning favor as you're killing monsters and doing
저
things
스킨들을
during the
손에
campaign.
넣는?
But a lot of those, and you can also progress your season
아,
journey.
시즌
Some of those
패스.
objectives might
오케이,
require you to go
오케이요.
and interact with season features that aren't available until after you finish the events of the Diablo 4 main campaign.
And that's probably one of the big things to be clear about. I know we're going to talk about the transition later, but in
그래?
terms of getting access to the mechanic, the idea of talking to corpsmen,
자, 얼티밋
capturing
사지로 이미
malignant hearts,
구매했네요.
having
그러면
rings with colored socket or jewelry colored socket,
공짜로
that stuff all
해야지.
takes place post-campaign.
That's
And
correct.
so if you haven't beat the
edition.
campaign yet, you're not going to run into these seasonal mechanics.
Yeah, you won't fight malignant creatures, for example, while you're going through the campaign
Correct,
on the
yeah.
seasonal realm, but you will shortly thereafter. So one of the things you can do, and I know we're going to talk about this, and we keep saying we're going to talk about this,
Right.
and then we talk about it anyway. But like, so I would say, like, you know, one of the things you can do to get ready for the season is to make sure you finish your campaign playthrough. Diablo 4,
Yes.
jump in. You can choose to skip campaign when you make your new seasonal character,
Right.
and dive right into the seasonal story and content immediately.
And that's forevermore. That's one thing we tried to say is that once you complete the campaign on one character on your
Yeah,
account,
one character, one
for every
time.
season moving forward, for any character you create moving forward, you can skip campaign and start off in Kyovashad level 1 off. Well, and you know,
Not always Kyovashad, but yes.
Is that the
Foreshadowing.
only thing that we can be doing to prepare
well,
for
we should
season
get to
one?
Let's get to the-
we should get to the battle pass. So the
시즌을
favor,
준비하는
so you have
거는
favor
캠페인을
flowing
깨달아.
because you're playing the
그래야지 바로
game.
할 수
You're
있다.
playing the game because you're doing your season journey
예.
objectives, you're getting even
And
more
I was
of
going to
it.
say you're getting more, and the favor is really flowing because I'm completing the season journey objectives, and so
Yep.
that favor is
근데
feeding
나는
into
캠페인
your progress on the battle
스킵보다는
pass.
그 맵을
Whether
좀
you've
미리 열어줬으면
chosen to just have
좋겠습니다.
a free battle pass or whether you've chosen to
우리
upgrade to a
진호를
premium
미리
battle
기계를
pass.
That's
열어달라.
absolutely correct.
So can we go back to the screens? I think it's one of the things.
뭐야 뭐야 뭐야. 헬로?
Part of the thing is kind of we use the term.
네, 헬로.
I want to complete the battle pass. One of the reasons you would want to complete the battle pass is you could look like this.
Yeah.
And by completing the battle pass in terms of the mount armor, the armor that the characters are wearing.
자, 배틀 스탯스
and
선별
so-
설명입니다.
Did you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
kind of the
I mean,
stuff?
one of the things that's really cool about a lot of the items in the battle pass, there are these really exciting like armors to chase for the characters. There are like fun new emotes to go chase for different classes, and we have even things like the like what we're showing off today.
와,
Like the
정말
artist
사고
we have some things
싶습니다.
that, like these. And this is actually one of our free cosmetics actually.
아,
The things are like
빨간색
a
옷이
little bit more
너무
fancy that can use to
예뻐요.
kind of like role play different kind of themes out for your characters. Just give you more options. And we have like our bigger stuff like this. Like this is like the Awoken Cold Iron stuff is like some of like the like real chase armor cosmetics.
이거
that exist at
유료지,
the
이거
end
유료지,
of
이거는.
the end of the battle pass.
It's one of the things that, like, if you notice either the role-playing armor, like the artisan tunic, or the helmet, is that one of the big things about the battle pass is that unlike the
이
shop,
정도
the
좀
battle
가면
pass,
예쁜
all
거
the
주긴
cosmetics
하네요.
are
나는
class
공짜다.
agnostic. So we have a
하하하.
preview for all 5 classes, so you can see what it looks like on a barbarian, what it looks like on a druid, what it looks like on a necromancer, and those sorts of things. And that's one of the nice things about the battle pass is everything you're earning on the battle pass,
Yeah.
class agnostic.
Yeah, for those transmogs.
The exception is the transmog weapons. There are transmog weapons on there that are class specific, just because classes
Classes can
equip
only use
certain
specific,
weapons.
yeah.
So if your class can equip that weapon, then you have access to it. Just to reinforce, I think it was already expressed, but there are lots of free things on the battle pass. If you pay to upgrade it to the premium battle pass, what you're gaining access to are a bunch of additional cosmetic things.
Yeah.
So the only thing you're getting access to by paying is that additional cosmetic unlock. So there's really, really cool stuff, some on the early end, and then especially on the tail end of it, that's what you're buying into. But the free version,
Keep going. I'm getting ready to transition.
okay, the free version
I know where I
of
want to
it
go after you.
still has some very cool unlocks.
자,
And
아무튼
anything
스킨 얘기
related
계속하는
to, well, you
중.
wanted to talk more about blessings, right?
Well, that's what they're saying with the free side.
뭐
Like, so
저는
we're saying
스킨은
there's
별로 관심이
27
없어가지고요.
free
Yeah.
tiers in the
Yeah.
battle pass. And
디아블로
part of those
4가
27
스킨이
free tiers
중요한 게임은 아닌 것 같긴 해요.
smoldering ashes that
내
you can
캐릭터
get
볼
based
일이
on
얼마나
the level you are in
있냐고
the game.
하루 종일
that you
빙빙
progress
돌고
with
있는데
favor. And what are the smoldering ashes get you?
So these smoldering ashes the player will collect in the battle pass are, as you called out, like they're on the free track of the battle pass. You have to have a character of a certain level in order to be able to actually use them. So they're kind of like they're rate limited that way.
아니야, 이런
We'll
말
take
하면
those, you'll be
좀.
able to use those and apply them to the seasonal blessings.
이거구나.
And here, okay, we can
나오고
actually
말았다.
reveal all
그래,
these.
이거야, 이거.
So here are the places where, as the players collecting these
blessing.
ashes, they can invest
자,
them here
여러분들,
to give all of
이걸
their
하면은
characters on the
경험치도
seasonal
많이
realm
주고
kind of like this,
이렇게 뭐
this,
많이
this
나온다고 합니다.
advantage able to carry through. So whether that is like, you know,
이게
bonus to like
능력치예요,
XP earned
여러분.
from monster kills, like we call out here, or things like boosting the duration of all elixirs that you're using over the course of the season.
Right.
이래서
And it looks
이것들을
like-
사야 되긴 해.
I'm assuming that, I don't know if it's linear or not,
능력치
but if I would
영향을 주기
assume with
때문에.
linear, I can do it 4
아하.
times at 15%, so like 60% duration on elixirs, you know, in terms of that particular, the earn of prolonging.
That's right. Yeah, we want to make this just be a nice
야,
little
미친
fun little
부스트
thing for
투
players
더
to take as they're
찬스로.
going
야,
through the season.
시즌
to kind of,
컨텐츠에
you know,
영향
help them,
미치는데,
like,
이거?
boost their characters a little bit more quickly as they kind of get deeper and deeper into progression of the
영향을
season. And give them
미치네요.
a cool, few different advantages to play with while they're playing through.
So if I were
이것
to max
때문에
out with my
시작했는데,
smoldering ashes,
이래도 안 할 거임.
earn a
실험료
prolonging is
올려줄
where I want
거임.
to invest
경험치
my
올려줄
smoldering
거임.
ashes. I can
이랬지,
basically
시즌
take my
안에.
30-minute elixir and make it almost a 50-minute elixir. So getting that 5% XP boost, maybe for me it's the extra 200 thorns and the 200 armor.
형, 시집에서 안 해준다고?
Yeah, and give you boosts to like
야,
get more
발티어가 그
opportunities
얘기
to earn like
아니에요?
the or better million
X
heart drops
스몰더
and the
세시스
And these are available to
리워드
everyone
팔티어라고
because who's in
써있는데?
the seasonal realm because it's part of the free track.
팔티어가
Yes.
아까 그
And
시집에서
they
티어
are
아니야?
limited based on they're also limited based on level of the player, so that even if someone were to use tier skips, even though they might get to the tier that says free
You unlock
smoldering
an ash,
ashes,
it might require-
it doesn't actually unlock until
그래?
you get to the level requirement.
아,
for,
팔이 무료
for example, like the first
보상이야.
ash that you unlock in the battle
그럼
pass, is, I think
좋네요.
it's tier 8 maybe.
Tier 8,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it has a
놀래라.
level 40 character requirement as an example. Just to make it really, really clear, like you will be able to use this in time, but immediately, like you need to continue to progress your character and
입니다,
like, continue
여러분.
to level up, and then you'll be able to use that accordingly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can kind of do my little summary thing. So basically, the way what we said, so we have a
tum이는
seasonal
페이트리는
theme
매우
of the
민감해,
malignant, which has
그래?
the mechanic of capturing malignant hearts and putting it into jewelry. We use that to complete our season's journey. Our season journey is rewarding
근데
us favor.
얼림이 산
Our
사람은
favor,
바로
we're then
20단계를
putting into the battle
받으니까
pass
그
to get
차이가
really cool
있겠구나.
cosmetics and transmogs.
그거
But also
그렇네.
based on our
얼티밋 산
level
사람들은
and
이미
our
40,
tier in the battle
20단계네요.
pass will get smoldering ashes. We can use those smoldering ashes to apply a season's blessing, which allows us to use those
좋구나.
urns and get sort of perks for during just this season that we've unlocked.
That's correct.
So the free person's experience, if you never want to pay a cent, you are still getting a
아니요,
lot of power out of the
아니에요.
season journey
저는
and the free aspect, the free unlocks on the battle pass. So this is kind of an increase in power for everybody. And then if you want to spend money, just reinforcing that, that's unlocking more cosmetics. And don't get me wrong, like they're amazing cosmetics. I am planning to pay to unlock them myself.
이게 기본
But
기조인 것
there's
같습니다,
no
여러분.
power that comes from them. They are transmogs. They are not actual items. It's just a transmog you can place on your armor to look cool. They don't actually cause things to light on fire.
Yeah, it's just
or anything like
reinforcing what we had
아무튼
talked about
페이트리는 아니라
before, like
강조주.
even before launch and so forth, is that the battle pass itself, anything that if you do pay for a battle pass, all the paid items are going to be cosmetics and for you, it's no pay for power.
And if you bought the deluxe or the ultimate edition, this
우리는 받아요. 얼티메이트 에미션 구매한 사람들은 이미 사져 있는 상태니까 뭐.
That's great for them. So then let's talk a little bit about the transitional side of it in terms of how I go into this or what happens. So there's a couple of different things. There's like one is like there's a need. So there's a question. I guess we should talk about renown. Like one of the big things that we hear the most about is, hey, I spent a lot of time, and I know I did too. I completed all my renown objectives. I've got full everything. And now I hear, oh, I have to re-roll my character in season. Do I have to go find all the altars of Lilith? Do I have to go all clear the fog of war again?
Yeah, so I know we've talked about this in stream before, but it definitely
이거 뭐
bears
시즌
repeating. So
시작하면
like
기존
when
캐릭터는 당연히
when
뭐.
season 1 goes live, players are going to be able to go basically carry over like all of the fog of war that they've cleared. So everything, all the world they've explored on their characters in each of the zones, like in the Fractured Peaks and Scotsland and such, all of that's going to carry over, as well as all of the renown you have earned from all of that, all of the
So
exploration.
can we bring
that
up
you've
the screen? So
Yeah,
basically,
자,
what we see
보여줍니다.
areas discovered.
이거 난 당연히
Let's
밑에
say
있을
I've
줄 알았는데.
actually, okay, we'll say this is this person. So right now they've got 30 areas discovered, which is worth 150 renown.
Right.
So what's going to happen is in the season, I'm going to have 30 areas clear inside of
잠깐만, 이러면은
Kyrgyzstan,
준다는 거 아니야?
and I will have 150 renown already in
이걸
the
해주는
bank.
거 같은데
And it
이러면은?
will have unlocked whatever 150 renown will have unlocked.
Absolutely right. Yep, absolutely right. So you're gonna have that, and you're also gonna have already collected all of your altars of Lilith that you've got from your partner
So
account as
the
well.
same thing here. So I will have 12 will be appearing on my map immediately, and I will have 120 renown in the bank with my other 100. So I'll have 270 renown already earned waiting for me to claim when I fire up the season.
That's absolutely correct. So these are the advantages you get to start with, and like if you look at like all of the renown you can collect from the from discovering all of the areas and from getting all of your altars of loath, is going to get you in each of the zones. Basically,
이거
through the first 2
보루만
tiers,
다시
a little
한다는
bit away
건가요?
through the third tier
Right.
For each of the zones for renown. So you get to start
맵은
with like
다행히
if you start
넘어가면
at level
휴
1
그나마
on day 1
다행인데
of the
이게
new season with a brand new
보루는
character.
다시 해야
You'll start and
된다는
you've done
거고
all of this work with
기존
your
지도는
previous,
남아 있는데
previous
이러면
character
스탠은
and previous playthroughs. You'll have
해야겠는데 이거
5
스탠
skill
해야
points
되네
to play with, and then
그러면
5 extra potion charges.
아,
So you'll be
이러면
sitting at 9
스탠!
potion charges
At
right
level
away.
1,
밀긴
you'll have
해야겠다.
5 skill points and 9 potions ready to go.
Absolutely. You just claim those things down, you're good to go for the season.
And your map reveal.
And your map.
And your
reveal.
map
맵이
reveal.
이제 남는
goes
그
back to
얘기했잖아.
what Tim was
맵은
teeing
남아야
up
된다니까.
earlier.
이거
When we think
언제
about,
맵그
hey,
다
I'm
비킬
excited about the
거임.
season. I want to prepare for it. I've got, what is it? This is the 6th today?
Today's the 6th.
Okay,
Yes.
so I
you
have
you have
14 days.
14
I have
days.
2 weeks. What should I be doing in these next 2 weeks? And so one was, I better get the campaign done because I really want to
complete the campaign.
fight the malignant. But now, like, if you had places to go to, like, dig deep on clearing the fog and dig deep on finding the altars, because those are going to carry into the season.
Yeah, all that stuff will carry over
다
with you.
넘어간다는 거.
Okay, so then, Tim, how do I think about? I've got 5, 6 alts, my characters right now in the Eternal Realm.
이거 명망 얘기
We're talking about carrying
나왔나요?
over progress based on your. How do I
나도 명망자는 사실 안
ensure
했어.
that the progress, like the most
오늘부터
progress
해야겠다.
character, it actually impacts my seasonal character?
Yeah, Tim, tell us.
릴리트도 다 해야겠다.
It's a great
하나도 안
question.
했는데.
For
Lisa!
various technical implementation reasons, we do actually need you to log in on existing characters to kind of self-migrate some of your data with this. So this is something that we implemented
명망 안
based on
된대?
player feedback that we got. So we put it in as quickly as we could. It is in for season 1, but what we need you to do, once
명망은
season
안
1
넘어가고
comes out,
릴리트는
actually
넘어가는
once the
거예요,
patch
그러면?
comes out, you don't even have to wait until July 20th. You can do this on July 18th, which is when the patch goes live. You should log in
아니야,
with
명망이
characters
그거
that
중요한
have the
거.
most progress. If you have a single
명망은
character you
그게잖아.
played, or if you have one character
그거잖아요.
that, hey, on this one character I unlocked all the
정복자
altars
포인트
and cleared
20개잖아.
all the fog of war.
스킬이랑.
Awesome. You just
이거
have to
해야
log
돼.
in with that
해야
person.
된다니.
When you log in with that character, all of that progress is going to be propagated across your entire account. It'll be saved as, hey, this is just unlocked for your whole account now.
친절과
At that
되는
point,
거
any
아닌가?
character you log on,
그런가? 근데
either one of
여러분들
your
이미
existing
뒤쳐지는
alts
거야.
or any new character you
뒤쳐져
make in
있다고.
seasons will now have all of that progress. So you have to do it once, but after you've done that, it is now saved to your account. And just to reinforce, the experience you're going to have if
정복자
you
이거
have
된다고
unlocked
하네. 이거
all these
확실하게
things. It takes a little
해야
bit of work,
되는데
but if you've
이거.
unlocked all of that, when you start that new seasonal character,
확실하게 해야 돼.
wow, is that a lot of
정복자도
power.
이어야
You
되는
are
게
going to
맞나? 나
level
못
pretty
들었어.
fast, because extra 5 skill
명망도
points,
조정이
extra
된다,
5
그래?
potions, you are ridiculously overpowered when you first start
최선을
playing. Like, that is
영어하잖아,
a lot
나이스.
of
나
extra
명망이
power.
오르는지
So,
모르겠어.
You start.
And, because that is a big caveat. Like, we will be reminding everyone. I'm going to be like literally screaming from the rooftops. I know we will be posting it in our patch notes on that come out for the patch on the 18th, just to remind people that yes, log into your characters beforehand. Even if you log in, like if you jump into the season later on, you can log into those characters with the most amount of progress.
Well,
파일을
that's the
배치하면
two things
명망작을
I'm
제일
gonna probably
잘해둔
question. But
캐릭은
one is,
로그인해라.
I don't do that for whatever. I go on vacation. I'm not playing. I come back. The season started. I can still log in my Eternal Realm character
미리
and have all that
내실을 다 주는 사람들이 레벨을 빠를 거라고 한다. 왜냐면은 포션도 5개 더 있고, 스킬 포인트도 10개나 있고, 정보자도 20개 더 있음.
functionally, from this point forward, anytime you ever log in on a character,
맞아,
it will
가방
just check,
패치도 좀
like, hey, does
해줘.
this character
참고랑
have
좀만 더
any progress
늘려주세요.
that's not already credited on your account? Cool, I'm now crediting it to your account.
Right. And so for
저도 정복
and that's
지수
for the seasonal.
연락하겠습니다.
So if I think about the Eternal Realm, like for example, my Necromancer has everything. I've got the full bar on renown on all 5.
자, 오늘부터 릴리트랑 좀
humble
캐좀
bragging. That's the point
천천히
of that.
슬슬 일어나야겠는데.
Absolutely.
So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about
So
this.
let's talk about how good my Necromancer is. No, what all I'm saying is I have a Sork that has not had the same level of progress in the world. So after the 18th, when I log in my Necro and all that progress gets put to my account. When I go to log in my Sork next, even on the Eternal Realm, my Sork will now have all the progress that my Necro
Correct.
has.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
And let's say, like, just to dive really deep into this. So let's say that you've got,
I know,
you've got two different
we
characters.
should do some sort of
You've
dev
got-
stream where we can talk and go deep.
That's true, actually, yeah. So let's say you've got like two characters you play. Like one has done everything in the Fractured Peaks, has uncovered everything in the Fractured Peaks, and has uncovered like all of the altars with level both. You get another character who's gotten everything in Scott's Glen, who's unlocked like all the fog of war, has found all of the altars Lilith. If I log in on my Fractured Peaks character, and just by doing that, all of that credit will now be transferred to my
큰일
Scotland
난다.
character. When I log into my
이게
Scotland
그거네.
character, all of that
설명해주네,
credit
지금.
will be
취약된다.
applied to my Fractured Peace
가장
character.
잘
At
큰
that point, all of the
캐릭을
credit
꼭 해야
on the progress
됩니다.
I made on either of those
영망작을
characters
제일
has been
많이 하고
propagated to the
릴리즈
entirety
다
of my
눌러놓은
account.
걸로.
Right. So it becomes an and.
It's not just, it's
그걸로
not just like,
무조건 들어가야
it's not like,
된다는
it's
거.
not like the one account that has the most stuff and then I want to log in
잘못해가지고
that
딴
one. No,
걸로
you want to log in
들어가면은
to any account that
그걸
has
그게 기준으로
tons of
시즌이
progress
넘어간답니다,
they've made in
여러분.
different directions. Right.
And I think to just again, hey, let's talk about managing expectations. Some of you might be saying like, wow, that sounds a little clunky. And I think the point that Tim was trying to make was, hey,
일단은 근데 권장사항은
prior to
제일
season
잘 낸
1,
거를
we had actually talked
로그인하라고
about
하네요.
that you wouldn't have any renown progress carryover. You would have to go find the altars of Lilith. You would have to go clear the
아니야,
fog of
뭘
war.
미국
Like
가.
the original
나 너무 허리
plan
키워놨음.
when launching the game,
잠깐만요. 설마
or
하콘 따로냐?
prior to launching the game, the original plan that was that there was no
뭐라?
transition of state from Eternal Realm to
야,
Season
설마
1
하콘
as part of this. And so hearing the player feedback as we talked about
하콘은
seasons
따로야?
and hearing the response that we got about what I have to find all the altars again, what I have to find clear the map
너무
again,
알려지.
and wanting to make sure that we were listening to the players. We put in a system that allowed us to do that, but is not the most smoothest, most sophisticated because we're doing it under very tight time constraints as quickly as possible.
Hey, did you want it done?
Yeah,
Did you want it done?
It's
The answer
I'm
is
just
yes.
saying, I'm just saying, like, that wasn't the design from the start was not to do this, log in a character on the 18th and make it happen. That's what we had to do to make it happen for season 1.
And this was
다른
based off of,
캐릭터가
obviously player
하코랑
feedback that we
너무
got since launch.
영원이랑
So this is
하코도
us
괜찮은지 좀
implementing it
궁금하긴
quickly
한데.
to address, the feedback
나
that
이제
you
하코
guys have been
캐릭터가
giving.
없음.
And then on top of that, I like a huge shout out to our engineers for getting this all implemented before we actually jump into the season.
Much like the Nightmare Dungeon teleport.
Exactly.
Like,
저
miracles can happen
양몽동전
and
텔레포트
very
매우
quickly,
잘한
so-
A lot
패치예요.
of these actually end up with us going to an engineer
자화자찬
asking
시간이
how
왔습니다.
long it would take to do it.
편의성
And
얘기하네요,
the first
이제.
answer is to do it right.
First
And
answer
that's
is they
very big
cry.
number.
Yeah.
And then there's like, okay, well, what about to make it work right now? And always, if you told me you wanted to do this X months ago, I could have done it way easier because we implemented it completely differently. So yeah, we make it work, but sometimes the fact that you have to log in to get the progress propagated, we would have made it a smoother version if we knew months ago.
All right, look, all right. Like, zoom in on me. Zoom in on me.
Come closer.
Let's just. Okay, it's not going to happen. There it is. Okay, yeah, all right.
시즌을 달려야지.
It's a
안
live
하진
game.
않지,
We know we need to,
그래도.
it's a live game. We know we are looking at trying to make improvements based on the feedback that we're getting from players. We're playing the game ourselves, and we're kind of seeing how everything is really feeling as it's all coming together with a giant audience of players playing and enjoying the game. We want to make sure that we are making the right changes as quickly as we can for the community. Some of those things are a lot harder than others. But like all the feedback, like Adam, you called out some things.
일단은
earlier
뭐
on at
우리
the
말
program,
들어준다는
like,
겁니다,
we're
지금.
hearing feedback about this and this, and like inventory space. We talked about gems
이렇게
last time.
로그인하는 걸 몇 달 전에 알았다면 편하게 했을 텐데
We're trying to move very
빨리
quickly on a lot
적용하다
of these
보니까 이렇게
things.
된다
Some of them are
이해달라
a lot more
라고
challenging
하네요.
technically to do than others, but we are rapidly moving on as many changes as we can because we are fervently trying to
지금
make the very
얘기하는 거는 뭐
best
아무튼
version of
열심히
Diablo 4
잘했습니다.
possible in the fastest time frame that we can to deliver to the player base because. We're players too. We also
우리들의
want the same
말도 말
things.
듣고 우리들 플레이를
So
잘
just
관찰할 거고 뭐
know that
아무튼
we're
뭐
working
열심히
hard.
해가지고
We
최고의
are-
패치를
we
하겠습니다. 뭐
love
이런
our
열심히 하는
engineers
중.
and our designers and our producers and the staff's been helping with like all like the hotfix and everything else. We are trying to make sure that we are delivering a really, really high quality experience to players on a regular basis. So just stick with us. Keep giving us that feedback. We're going to keep making adjustments as we go between seasons and other updates.
그래도 지금 이렇게 아까도 얘기했듯이 악몽던전 패치한 것처럼 그 유저 편의성이랑 유저 경험의 최고한의 그런 경험을 주기 위해서 우리 노력할 것이다.
First request, never like, hey, let's get this in eventually when it makes sense and when it's comfortable. No, it's always, could we do this right now? Is
열심히 하는
it
거
possible
없긴
for
해.
us to do this right now?
Well,
So,
that's-
I want
이 정도면은
to the Overton window where I just expect everything to be done in 6
시켰다
seconds.
살렸다
This is the thing
시켰다
about, like,
살렸다
why,
하고
about doing
있음.
it safely. Like, I think one of the sort of the junior mistakes some people can make is this idea of like time is only what it takes to implement, and it's not. It's time is also what it takes to test and make sure that it's robust and stable. And so that's one of the things that like when you look at we have a follow the sun QA organization around the world, and that's what allows us to do, I don't know, we're what to 15, 16 hot fixes or more now.
Yeah.
And our big client patches is that ability of not only can we get we have some heroic engineers who can turn stuff around very quickly, but we also have some heroic QA teams around the world who are helping us make sure that when we make these changes, we're doing it in a safe way. So,
자, 슬슬
but
마무리
appreciate your
타이밍인가
patience on
봅니다.
that. And,
뭐 아무튼 뭐
so this is exciting. Season
정리를
1,
하고
Season of the
있네요.
Malignant.
Yes. It's finally here.
Yes.
I'm waiting to reveal this for a
in 2
long
weeks?
time.
In 2 weeks, and again, like Tim
It's
had
not
mentioned.
technically
자, 2주 남았습니다, 여러분.
Soon, very soon.
As Tim had mentioned,
고시입니다. 진짜
we will have a patch
고시예요.
on the 18th for Diablo 4 that
18일
will
날
contain all the
선행 패치할
the
것이고
changes that
그
will be
다음에
coming
들어올
in
때는
with season
꼭
1. If
잘된
Tiffany Watt
명망책
were
잘된
here,
걸로
who
로그해
was on
주세요.
our campfire chat before,
Yep.
she categorized our 103
아마
patch
뭔가
as chunky.
표시가 나올 것 같긴
I
합니다.
will categorize
이렇게
in Tiffany Watt's
시즌 1을 뭐
as
2월할 캐릭터를
super
골라주세요
chonky
이런 게 나올 것
for
같긴
season
해요.
1. It actually is our largest, or chonkster, as Tim called it. I think we were chonkers. So we're going to pull up the Wikipedia entry and actually go through it, the history of chonkers. But yeah, it is very big. So we will have notes up for that.
그 얘기하더라고.
And again, players
이런
can
시스템인지
prepare
알았으면 미리
for
얘기했을
season
텐데
1 by
갑자기 급하게 하려다 보니까 이렇게
completing the
됐다고
campaign
양해해
for
주세요라고
sure.
하네요.
And making sure
생각보다 이런
clear
시스템
fog of war,
프로그램이 좀 많이
discover the
힘든가
map, and
봐요.
of course, get all your altars. So
그다음에
lots to
18일 날
come
어마어마한
for
분량의
Diablo 4.
그
And then
패치
again,
노트가
we also
40페이지라고 합니다,
have,
여러분.
just more
자,
improvements that will be
A4용지
in that
40장
patch,
분량의 패치 노트가
with
준비되어
class
있으니까
our
18일 날 기대해
balance
주세요라고
changes
합니다.
to bug fixes to you name it. I can go on. There's even some reward changes coming for some Nightmare and Helltide related activities as well, some endgame activities, because I've been hearing some feedback regarding like, hey, it would be great if we can get like maybe better rewards with some of these activities, and so I know some of those changes are coming in that actual update as well. But I know we want to do Q&A.
We do.
Yeah.
And this is a live stream, by the way.
Q&A를 어떻게
So I know we get sometimes people are like,
한다고, 지금?
this is live. No, this is totally live. So we're actually going to be bringing in. We're actually going to kick off Rod.
진짜 한다고,
We're done
이거서?
with him. No, I'm just kidding. Rod is actually
I'm
just
actually going to go and annoy you from the side.
I know. It's the worst.
가버렸어.
Rod's going to jump over here. We're actually going to bring back in Chris and Ryan from the Immortal team, who will be jumping in
Oh, I
here.
think you're supposed to open that chair. I didn't do my job.
Rod
I didn't do my job.
Rod had one
저번엔
job
정말 하나요? 이거
and
실시간
failed to do
Q&A를?
it.
I failed to open the chair.
So we're going to bring these guys in. I know we have questions queued up from different people in Twitch chat. So if you guys have questions, of course, feel free to drop in
아,
questions.
이모탈 질문을 왜 봐도 안
Oh, I need to speak too because I think I'm
관심이 없습니다. 그 블러드 나이트인지 나그랬지는
live.
And we're scooching last station.
So
궁금하지
here's the problem.
않아요.
We also the
Like all
production
kinds of
team hates me.
cables beneath us.
I want to give a shout out to our production group behind here because I literally
누가
go like,
날
oh, we're only gonna have like
대신해가지고
2
질문
people,
좀 해줘.
and
전
then we
방송
continue to add
중이니까.
people, and then Rod
야만.
wanted to be in it
그래서
yesterday.
야만용사는 어떻게 되는
Now
거야?
suddenly we're up to like
이게 맞아?
20 people, and this room can't hold this many people. So I apologize.
you're
They
not
are
okay.
angels, and they deal with me. But we do have some questions, and I will be kind of going back and forth in between both of them. But we do. Oh, perfect. We do have some questions up here. Someone's also calling me, which is awful at this time.
이거 부러지는 거 아니야?
Quick
이거
question.
불안한데
Any
이거
updates
지금
around
애들이
this is for
자문자답하는
D4
거
specifically?
아니에요?
Any updates around respecting
자문자답
characters?
아니야 이거?
Yeah, so right now
이런 질문
there
누가
are,
있어?
I think
아,
there's
트위치
two
아이디
different
빨리
concepts
가져와봐,
in the
빨리.
community. There's the,
채팅창
there's the general
공개하세요,
cost of,
빨리.
respecting characters, and then there is at various stages of the game. And then there is the actual experience of respecting a character, particularly when you're deeper into the Paragon system.
전과가
That
있어,
takes a
정말로?
lot of effort. So
미치.
we have longer-term plans on the user experience side, like on the menu side, because we want to improve the flow of allowing players to respect their characters. These are things we're actively investigating.
자,
and designing
100%
for,
디아4에서는
things we're looking to
캐릭터
add
밸런스
to,
얘기
seasons
나올
in the
거거든?
future, but we don't
이걸
have
어떻게
date or anything
하시려나?
for that.
아니 왜
In terms of
문제냐면은
the actual, the
자,
actual
뭐
price
이모탈
tag,
같이 페이 투
we're
윈 게임 같은
evaluating
경우는
things on like the
캐릭터
gold
간의
economy,
밸런스가
taking a look at
깨져도
what
그
players are doing on a
밸런스를
regular
현금으로
basis.
메꿀 수가
We're not
있거든?
making any
애정을
fundamental structural
가지고.
changes to
근데
today, at this
문제는
time.
디아블로4는
But we are, because we're satisfied
페이
with
투
where
윈이
things
안
are
되는데
looking
밸런스가
at
어긋나가지고
one thing we will be
아무리
adding
시간과
on is
노력을
as part of
쳐부어도
seasons, there's now a new
그
reward
넘을
you
수 없는
can collect
벽이
as
있는
you're going
거임.
through the season journey at the end of each season.
페이 투 윈 자체가 안 돼.
called
하고
the Scroll
싶어도
of
안 돼.
Amnesia, which
이걸
once you
니들이
collect the
해결해줘야
Scroll of
돼,
Amnesia,
지금.
you can use that one time to basically reset the entirety of a character all in one go for no gold cost at all. So these are gonna be like pretty fun things to bring back with you to turn around if you want to use for future playthroughs or for that character or another character. So we want to make sure that we're like slowly adding a few of these as the players progressing through the experience. Kind of make that a little bit easier for
어,
players. to
정말
And that
벌써
scroll of
나왔어?
amnesia is everything. It's all your skills,
It's all
all
your
your
skills, all your
Paragon,
Paragons,
everything
yeah.
goes to zero.
공홈의 시즌 정보가
Awesome. For Immortal, we have a question from, I'm reading everyone's names, 8 Miles West.
어디지? 나도
How much will the
봐야지.
Blood Knight cost? I know we covered this
한국어도
early
있나요?
on, but if you guys want to reiterate.
The Blood Knight will cost nothing. The Blood Knight is
자,
free.
링크는 안
It's free.
됩니다.
So if you're a new Immortal player,
채팅으로 링크가 되지
or you're
않아요.
a existing Immortal player, you can literally jump in, start playing the Blood Knight on day one, which is on July 13th. So, and of course, you can play through the campaign. And we have mentioned that has
어차피
essentially
지금
custom
그거잖아.
video and everything is.
Some
요것입니다,
mechanics you
여러분.
might see in future seasons might be that way right away. We might be planning that, hey, this will show up in Eternal Realm right
자,
away. Others will evaluate
시즌
them as they play
특징은
them and then see if this is
요거,
working really
이게
well. This is
말리그
something that we want to
너트,
integrate
그
with the Eternal
역병,
version of the game.
Yeah, I
부패
wanna stand just
심장을
1 second
가지고
longer. That's
뭐
not
이렇게
suggested
보석으로
not to
쓸 수
be
있는
as part of
거랑
seasons.
악의 심장을 사용하세요.
intentionally
이게
using
아마
opportunities to
그
create
보석을
content for
써가지고
the base game,
나의
like
스킬의
something that
아예
persists
힘을
beyond,
다르게
the
만들어버리는
end of
그걸
the
통해
season.
가지고 나만의
But we
빌드를 만들
really
수
do
있는
want to hone in
콘텐츠고요.
on the idea that we're
새로운
like,
우두머리랑
Mulligan Hearts
장비가
is very
추가했다고
powerful, as we
하는데요.
talked about
이거 뭐
before.
끝이잖아.
They're really
새로운
cool, they're very exciting.
6개
We
있고
can't
7개
add
전서.
something exciting like that every season if it's
뭐야?
expected to all last.
에크한다 뭐 야만 2개 뭐 이런
So
식으로
we're
되는
not
건가?
going to do that.
이게 클래스별은 아니겠지, 설마?
Needing to do is all those things to be extremely incremental in terms of what they
하나하나
offer
뭐
to the
이렇게
players
해주는 거면
over the
설마?
course of time. And it would make the game extraordinarily dense in terms of what the players
공룡이
expect to do.
직업만 알고 깨면
We
대박이고
know that
만약에
there's
전체
opportunities to
7
extend things
개면
like add more
글쎄다.
in-game features. We know that there's more content that we want to add to the game in general that like everybody's going to need forever, and we're going to be looking at
설마.
those opportunities as we go. But things like Malignant Hearts,
자, 무료
you don't want to
보상은
have
시즌
something of
여정이랑
that size in
축복이랑
season 1
친구.
and something of similar size in
오케이,
season 2.
뭐
and
이거
then
아까
season 3
빨간
and
티
season 4. The
너무
game's going to get very
너무 갖고 싶었나 빨간 티네요.
dense and
와우.
difficult for players to really navigate. One
자,
way, like,
저는
to
호구라
away,
가지고 이걸 샀습니다.
introduce new ideas, but having
얼티메이트
known
어쩌고
what
패스
worked really, really well with
예예예예.
Malignant Hearts and what stuff we could maybe have improved upon, we get to take all those ideas forward.
It's also part of the cool factor of the
자, 뭐
season
큰
is
얘기는
that when you're
없네요.
going in these
간략
Malignant
정보였네요.
Hearts, it's there for the season. So even let's take the a player that let's say doesn't like to play alts except of the same class. I just love playing barbarian, and you know I have 3 different barbarians already on Eternal because
Well,
it's
if you're
the
a big
perfect
rogue
class.
player and all you play is rogues and all you do is build rogues,
There might be a lot of those too.
야, 이거를
but
스트리머를
let's say
이렇게
barbarian, that's my
언급해 주는
hypothetical.
것도
I'm sticking with
괜찮나?
it. So I'm a
근데
barbarian
마왕루야도
lover, and
언급해
I've made all
주세요,
these
이러면은.
barbarians. Season 1 is still an exciting
마왕루야도
time
언급해
to make
주세요.
a new barbarian
마마리언.
because we have all of these new
저요,
malignant
저요,
powers that allow you
저요.
to make
나도 언급해
radically
주세요.
new builds that are
왜
completely
룩스님은
different from
언급합니까?
barbarians
나도
you played in the
해주세요.
past. Your end game is going to be very different.
나 세계
So that
74위
excitement goes away if you just say,
야만용사야.
like, oh, all of these powers just exist in the game forever. The whole idea is that no, every season is a fresh new experience that gives you builds that did not exist previously. So the idea is some of that stuff
이번
is
시즌
always
그래도
designed
괜찮아.
to go
후하지
away.
마. 이 정도면 해볼지도 몰라.
Another thing
방금 롭스 얘기하는데
Right off camera
롭스님.
speaking.
Raw camera. Hey,
Yeah.
voice guy.
Joe,
Yes.
maybe speak
To the fact that everybody starts at the same place of the season is one of the benefits, so that people aren't like a year behind when they go to play season 4.
Yeah, that's an important part of this as well. One of the reasons we really like the idea of letting players start back fresh and have like an economy reset, players really jumping back in the experience at level 1 with characters, is it allows us to focus on making sure the entirety of that journey is really engaging and exciting for players to go through. And we want to make sure, like, by the
일단
end of the first
여러분들도
session, for example,
디아3의
like, you're getting
여정을
exposed to, like,
좋다고 판단한 만큼
like the new
이분들도
features and
거기에
content
대해서 굉장히
available for introducing in
긍정적이네요.
that season. That everything
아마
feels like
우리에게
it's
좀
balanced in
괜찮은
such a
경험을
way.
줄
The
거라고
players
많이
can
많이
really
강조하는
enjoy
중입니다.
the new things that we're adding in the way that they're kind of intelligently mixed with the rest of the features in the game itself. So that we think that experience is part of what makes a Diablo game anyways. Like making a new character, getting those item drops, like building up towards the end. With regards to like the way that we decided to conduct our efforts in seasons for Diablo 4, we think this is a really, really like the prime example of the way that we can make this work.
But I wanted you to hit on the point, the fact that if somebody buys the game,
Yeah. They're not like fundamentally behind.
yeah, if
players who
somebody,
played before.
look, I'm gonna mess with the camera people. Can you?
Yeah.
You can't even do it, can you? You can't even get there. All we can do is I can just have my talking stomach. Oh, hey, what's going on? The notion of
의자가
the thing that
없어가지고
we're talking
나왔습니다.
about is that we want, again, the game is a live service. The game's going to live for years. We want somebody who buys the game a year from now to not feel like they're a year behind when it comes to. So one of the benefits of seasons is, in season 4, on day 1, you and I are both level 1. I bought it that day. You have owned the game for a year. We're in the same place. We can play together and have fun together. And so as opposed to everybody from this moment on is now falling behind, seasons allows us to have that fresh start for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's actually, I could have put it better myself. That serves as a really, really good opportunity for us to make sure the
여러분도
players
채팅방에서
have
얘기한
these
얘기
starting
하네요.
point together. When you
계속하면은
want to come in a little bit later in
계속
the game
시즌을
experience, if you're taking
추가할수록
like a
점점
season or
완성된
two off
게임이
because
될
something else
것이다.
came
뭐
out,
이렇게
no,
뭐
we want to make sure that it
긍정적으로
feels
보고
like,
있다. 뭐
any-
이런 식으로
whenever
얘기하는 것
the
같습니다.
most important thing for us in seasons, like kind of going off script in a different way now, is that like when you're playing seasons and you're playing Diablo 4, you're having a great time. And when you've reached all the goals and done the things that you think are really, really important, and you want to go like take a break to go play something else for a little while, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We do the same thing.
You don't
But when a season rolls and there's new things for you to come check out, that's a great time to come back. Particularly if you had a good time playing before. That's exactly when you should come back and check out Diablo 4 fresh.
Okay, I'm out. Sorry.
I'll be honest, when the next WoW expansion comes out, there's a non-zero chance that I'm going to play WoW for a while. But it's great to know there's a point that I can come back to Diablo 4 and everybody's on an even footing. Yeah.
Question here from Jeffrey Allen, and didn't specify the D4 or DI, so I'm actually going to ask both because I think this is relevant to both. Also,
Why do you have a new mic?
I actually
아마
don't
못 보는
know.
거 패치도 있을 것 같습니다.
But yeah,
여러분들, 패치 내용이
two mics, guys.
F 형제 40장이래요. 편의성은 정말 많이 생길 것 같습니다. 맵이 그 투명성, 맵의 불투명도, 투명도 이런 거 체크 막 다 나올 것 같아요. 이 정도면은.
Between characters, so for
보관함도
instance,
있을 것
like
같고 내가 볼 때는
for
보석도 뭔가 할 테일 것 같고 왜냐면 여러분들 보석을 안 해줄 수가 없는 게 지금 보석에다 심장까지 인벤토리를 쳐먹으면은 세상에 전쟁에서 지울 수 있는 게 없습니다, 여러분. 아마 보석 보관함을 따로 해주지 않을까 싶긴 해요.
in Diablo Immortal, does that actually also appear in the Blood Knight?
So cosmetics purchased prior to the Blood Knight's release will not be retroactive. However, the sorry, what was the Mother's Lament said?
Hatred's Heritage.
Hatred's Heritage will be available for the Blood Knight.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So going forward, there will be now new cosmetics available for the Blood Knight, just as they are for all the other classes in Immortal. And then I guess for D4, will cosmetics be transferring to seasons, and will they need to be reobtained? I know this was like a question that we get a lot from people in regards to transmogs and if you salvage specific stuff, how does that work between characters from Eternal and Seasonal realms?
아이템 칸 옆에다가 보석 칸 하나 만들면 되잖아.
The new season, and obviously every cosmetic.
아이템 칸, 소비 칸, 장비 칸, 탭하나 늘리는 게 뭐 그렇게 어렵다고 장난하나 지금. 뭘 시스템적인 어려움이야. 뭐 굉장한 어려움이라고. 탭 하나 딱 많이 넣을 끝이잖아.
I shouldn't say it that way. It makes it sound like we're going to
무슨
change it.
말인데 지금.
Forever.
Let's see. This is from Kincho
인벤이
Kimo.
어려워?
This is Nightmare Teleport was great, but why can't we just teleport right into dungeons rather than just to the entrance? So this one I think is interesting because Nightmare, we obviously incorporated the teleport here in 103. It was another thing that we talked about where it was community feedback that we had gotten and the team jumped on it really quickly to implement it in a specific way. We have been seeing a lot of feedback in regards to players having to teleport outside of dungeons and kind of go through like a couple load screens. It was a quick, implementation from the team and everything. So I know it's something that we've been hearing from our side, and it's something that we're going to be looking at more here in the future for optimizing and making sure that we can implement maybe in a better way from some of the features that we've been just kind of adding in really quickly. On Immortal, we have. Was there some sort of Castlevania inspiration with the Blood Knight? Looking very similar to some popular characters from that franchise. Very pretty vampire-ish people, but not vampires.
I think we discovered Adam's speech,
이상하다.
by the way.
이모탈은 별로 관심이 없을 것 같은데 사람들이 왜
We
이렇게
can turn off Rod's
모르지?
mic now, so that's all we need to do. But yeah, was there any inspiration kind of thrown with the Blood Knight?
I think, when you're working with a tropic idea in fantasy like vampires, you take inspiration from all over. The spear thing puts us in
그래도
mind
뭔가
of
뒤에 뭔가
Vlad the
좀 중요한
Impaler.
질문이
The
나올 것
aesthetic,
같아가지고 그냥 못
you've already talked
넘기겠어.
about some potential references, but I think for us
이모탈이
it's
흥해야지,
as much
지금
like what we
콘텐츠가.
take out as what we leave in.
사실
We
돈
don't
버는 건
want the Blood
이모탈이라고
Knight to
하더라.
feel like a grab bag
돈
of
버는
all
거는 이모탈이래요.
vampiric myths. They are very specifically grotesque, blood,
이모탈이
shadow,
지갑이래요.
knightly weapons oriented. And so there were things like turning into mist, like turning into wolves, etc., that we immediately said, hey, these need to be off the table. And so in that regard, I think there's a lot of familiar that we're channeling, but there's also like a very dialed in identity
아니
for the class.
디코도 그래도 스킨 팔고
Awesome.
배틀패스
Everybody
팔면
knows
어떻게
that
안
there's
되려나?
necromancers that turn into mist.
어떻게 안 되나?
Let's see. In regards to Diablo 4, we have. Will you guys be nerfing or buffing in the middle of seasons, or will
너프랑
you be
버프죠.
making changes after the season starts?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So,
좋은 거다.
Oh, this is from God.
이거 들어야
by the way.
돼.
So there you go.
Okay,
I just
so
wanted
this
to.
is real
버프 버프를 시즌 중에 하는지 시즌에
yeah,
사는지.
this is a good question. So we made a number of adjustments during the preseason period to make sure that we're bringing some builds back into where we expect them to be functionally and performance-wise. When we go into the seasonal release, we do want to create structured moments in time that we're going to be talking about, I think, more in future streams, when we expect like buffs and nerfs to happen. So we have like a regular set of like patches that are going to be occurring after the season is released, where we have like a better schedule, like in cadence when we're talking about these things. We really want to try to reserve like big nerfs and big buffs for only like extreme outlier cases, and things were like really damaging the end of the
최악의
experience for
경우만
the
아니면은
players.
크게 안 건드는 것
So we
같은데?
want to try to keep that more constrained, and we also want to have just fewer general like off-cycle balance updates and things. So we're kind of keeping things more into this weekly cadence, like we talked about.
So yeah, things will be pretty stable throughout the course of the season.
정말
It's
큰
one of the
데미,
malignant powers. I
개인의
know I
큰
joked about them being broken.
데미지를
But
줄
if the
정도의
zone lights on
버그가
fire
아니
when
그
you use the
정도만
malignant power,
아니면은
yeah,
그
we're gonna patch
정도는
that.
안 건드는
But
거라고
otherwise,
하네요.
we're going to try and keep things stable.
근데 왜
I
담대하는
know we're
롤백 안 하는
running
거예요?
close on time because we were
야,
planning on this
담대함
stream
좀
to end
돌려놔.
in 1
담대함
minute
좀.
away. So I'm gonna
야만은 왜 그래?
lighten up a few
왜
questions.
야만만 괴롭혀?
A big question within chat
Let's
is
go.
obviously about stash space, which is something that we kind of just talked about a little bit earlier.
I'll say real quickly though,
Yeah.
like we definitely hear everybody about this. We are talking a lot about what we need to do with this. We've got good plans of things we can do to improve the situation. I know it's frustrating to hear me say like, what you were able to do this, like you could be able to do like nightmare dungeons this quickly, but like the reality is like we are moving really quickly on this, and we're gonna be trying to provide more space in the future, but figuring out how like we're gonna get that accomplished.
Yeah,
야,
and
근데
also one thing to
안광단정
note
같은
is I
경우는
know we talked
만족도가
about during
높았나
campfire
보다.
chats about how like
얘들도 되게 좀
gems and
그거를
so
되게
forth
긍정적인
were
사례로
going
얘기
to be
많이
part of
하네요.
the part of
아까부터.
materials in the future. So I know when that hits, like that will obviously free up a lot of
Yeah,
stash
there's
space
lots
for
of different ways
users.
to kind of like
아무튼
slice
얘네들은
away this problem.
최대한
That's like
그
an example of what we're
유저들에게
trying to
좋은
start trying
경험과
to mitigate this a bit.
재미있는 걸 해주고
And
싶다는 걸
then,
계속 밝히고 있습니다.
Jim the Q guy
근데 그
asked
과정
how much time
중에서
between
이제
seasons
조금 이제
still wants to level up
삐걱삐걱거릴
his
수
main.
있다는 거는 좀
So
어쩔 수
in
없긴
between
해.
seasons, obviously we had talked about seasons lasting 3 months.
It's a minimum of 12 weeks. Sometimes it might be a little longer, but you'll always have
Correct.
at least 12 weeks to complete your season.
Correct. Yeah. So you guys will hear.
Based on the calendar dates, right? But
Yeah. So you guys will hear like no matter what within or like once we hit that 3-month period, you'll start to hear news about the next season actually hitting and everything like that. And then this one, I guess for Rod, are there any plans on new
시즌은 꽤
classes
길게
coming
7주,
to
12주
Diablo 4? We've
라고
just heard
하네요.
about the Blood Knight, so there.
아, 또 불렀네. 넘겨.
nothing to announce at this
뒤로
time.
밀려.
very
See,
constrained.
yeah, Rod sitting off camera can answer that perfectly. So,
아니,
so
이제들이
yeah,
지금
I
이렇게
think
일부러
we're
이렇게
gonna wrap it here
배치했나.
for today. Obviously, we
디아블로4
talked a
한
lot
번
about
하고 블러드 나이트
all the
한 번
stuff
하고 이렇게
with
한 번씩 이렇게
Diablo
왔다
more
갔다
for the
하네요,
Blood Knight coming out
일부러.
on July 13th. We also
또
have
나갈라
for
그러면은
Diablo 4 Season 1, Season of the Malignant, which is going to be the
그래
patch
그래
will be on
봐준다 그래
July
여러분들
18th. And
7월
then the
13일
actual
날
season
나온다고
starts on
합니다.
July 20th.
클러드 나이프
We do actually
나옵니다.
have 2 blogs, one on DiabloImmortal.com and one on
자, 이게
Diablo4.com.
핵심이지.
They'll
7월
be
20일 날.
going live
한국
either
시간으로
right now
20일 날이라고
or
했네요.
immediately
21일 날.
after this live stream. They'll have all the
7월
details and
21일.
information that we just talked about here on the stream. Yeah, lots of stuff coming up here for Diablo.
Patch this afternoon.
Oh yes, and there's a patch this afternoon. You'll be seeing.
잠깐만,
I
F 넣는
forgot.
거
That's why I have to do it
언제야,
immediately after the stream. I was trying to get out of it, guys. But we will have a patch. We'll have patch notes
우리
up
기준은
on
언제지, 그러면?
Diablo4.com. We have a
우리랑
patch
상관없나?
article that
어차피
will
선에
actually
배치하면
note,
상관없나?
and we'll be updating people when that patch does hit. It is a client patch. It will require a download. It will be on all platforms. And yeah, lots of Diablo stuff coming up here in the next few weeks. Really excited. Happy Diablo family.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff coming up. I know we will be rating
아,
2
오늘 배치
Diablo
얘기해요, 오늘
content
배치.
creators immediately after the
미안합니다.
stream. One on Twitch, which is
오늘
Barricade, and the other
배치하는
one on YouTube, which is Killswitch. So
노라고 하네요.
make sure to tune into those guys. And thank you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to
블러드 나이트
the
이모탈이에요,
Diablo
이모탈.
developer update live stream. And
블러드
from
나이트는
everyone here
이모탈
on
거다.
the Diablo team, we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
아, 그러게 어떡하지? 나는 내실 다지려면은 다시 하드코어를 만들어야 돼 그러면. 끝이야 끝. 나 어떡하니? 그 얘기는 없었었는데 서버가 지금 이거는 역대 역사라고 하네요. 하코랑 그 영어는 아예 서버가 달라가지고 노멀 내실이 하코 내실로 이어지는 경우 없다고 합니다. 희상입니다. 하코 어떡하지? 나 하코 내실 못해. 캐릭이 없어 이제. 그나마 다행인 거는 스킬까지는 찍어왔다는 거예요. 나 소코에서 명방책 하려고 그랬지. 그래가지고 나 시즌 아마 하코하지 않으려나? 시즌은 영원으로 하면은 노잼이라고 그럴 것 같긴 해. 이번 시즌은 어떻게 하나? 하코 할 시간이 없다고. 왜? 하코가 좀 뭔가 좀 그 쫄깃한 맛이 있긴 하더라고. 영원으로 하자고? 글쎄 모르겠다. 이건 상황 봐가지고. 근데 하코도 해보니까 맘만 먹으면 할 수 있긴 한데 애매하네요. 소코 하면 딕티아로 하코 하자고. 이거는 저를 이제 디아 스트리머를 만들려는. 하코 이번에도 파티로 몰라? 아무 계획이 없습니다. No plan.